Peace, family. Peace, family. How we doing? How we doing? All right, let's get them in here. What's going on, family? What's going on? How we doing? How we doing tonight? About to get ready to get into the overtime after our Zoom call, after our Zoom class with the Gold students. Another great class. A lot more understanding is now being created and generated, and we kind of wanted to overflow into the community here and help out as many souls as possible. So you guys let me know what's on your mind. Hit that like button for me. Let's get some more people in and get some questions in that maybe you are afraid to ask. And let's get this going, family. Let's see if my brother gets in here so we can bounce it off of one another. There it is. What's going on, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. There we go. All right, brother. How was class today?
It was productive, conducive. I feel like everyone is grasping everything and putting it together. They're excited to take action, and that is really what moves commerce. If you're not ready to take action, you cannot perform in commerce. So,
Amen. It's pseudo activity if we aren't
yeah.
grasping the basic concepts. So one of the things that I did like that you were touching on today was that nuance.
Yes.
Now that's a different concept right there for the family. I'm sure that's not common to equate the nuance with future activity. Like a lot of us are so worried about the past, which is the penalty, which is the harm done. So if you're stuck on your past and the harm done, how can you receive rights in your present? Then therefore you
Yes.
practicing or being in your natural right in the present, right?
Right.
So how do we get to that nuance, brother? How do we even equate nuance to receiving anything?
How do we equate nuance? It's a good multi-tailored question, but simplifying it is having clear intentions. You don't have clear intentions, you can't control the tent that you're operating in because your mind won't allow you to do what work outside of your natural. This is all about competency, and performance is just demonstrating your know-how. You can't demonstrate nuance if you are grasping past. That's blame. That's accusation.
Mhm. That's correct. I'm loving it, man. Let's see what we got going on here. I don't see any questions. I just see what's going on here. Probably self-evident at this point. We're tapping into our law minds, tapping into our actual minds, so that we can get to where we're trying to go in life. It's kind of hard to get there when you're stuck in a mindset that is keeping you where you are. All right, family. If you guys have any questions, feel free to tap in with us.
As always, we appreciate the engagement. Make sure that if you're here, you're tapping the screen or you're tapping the questions. You see the subject line. Look at the videos on the page. An idea. If you're new to the page, who he is, what he talks about, and what I talk about.
Oh yeah. Think I have a question? What's your question, family? Let's see if we can answer it for you. Somebody think. Come on, Motown. Be nice. Motown. Motown.
Appreciate you tapping in. Appreciate you engaging. If you're here, tap the screen, ask some questions.
Mm-hmm. Somebody think. I hear you. Well, actually, today, like, I feel like we pretty much answered every question that needed to be answered. We knocked that stuff off. Like, after you got the lecture down, it was beautiful. I really enjoy when they get that light bulb going off, because it's not as difficult as we allow it to be. Very simple. And they,
Steve, are you still in here? Didn't ask the question yet. All right. Well, while Coach Brown is away, oh, look, back in already.
oh yeah. Yep, I'm here.
Awesome. Good. That's good. That's good, brother.
Just grabbing something for the family and heading back to the office space.
How do you really know?
So what you found was a way into some divine. Oh, there we go. Oops, my bad, brother. I can hear you.
Okay. Just looking at the question from Steve, how do you really know that we are in that mindset? I know I had experience, but I stopped. First thing to understand, and the way that I teach or the way that we teach is there's duality. If you're not free, you are a slave. In Roman jurisprudence, there is no lesser or more. It's one or the other. So if you are free, you conduct yourself with respect and dignity. That means that you do not give up. You don't stop. There's always a way to enforce your privacy, the distinction and respect and regard for your dignity. Not talking around the situation, but the mindset has to match the outcome in order for it to take shape outside of yourself. Otherwise, it's just a lofty thought, lofty ideal. Sounds good, but has no real substance to it. When we demonstrate that with clear intentions, your outcome should match how you perceive. You should be able to replicate it. We're not talking about just doing any random thing. This is precision.
It is. This is having the mindset of the 300. One of the soldiers out of the 300 that did not pass away because you maintained your stance. There's no stopping. You go all in and you do it equitably. There's no reason to stop. There's no reason to quit. So I guess I would have to stick with you on that, brother. No pun intended at all, family. But whenever someone quits or someone stops, why would you allow yourself to give up on something you believe you understand? And correct me if I'm wrong, brother, but if you're right, you're right.
At the most basic level, that is the substance of it. If you leave the battlefield, you've made a claim, you staked a claim, and you surrender it, that's a forfeiture, and there's a penalty for it.
hmm Definitely a penalty. And
Doesn't
that's
mean
past,
every,
correct?
yep, that is past oriented. Doesn't mean every battlefield will have the same of that last battle, but you have to use your wisdom and know-how exactly to be in alignment with commerce. He who leaves the battlefield loses by default. Absolutely. You understand that maxim. Higher than that maxim is equity. We want to understand and distinguish ourselves from something that has been subordinated. Because it's great to know common law maxims, but we're not operating under common law. At least not in the way or form that we would believe or mistake it to be. Or under public policy, which is a replacement for other intrinsic ideas. It has to convey something because there was a loss. You only replace or substitute something where agreements stand. So there's value that has to be defended, that has to be honored. A value that we have been spoken to, typically in most battlefield scenarios. The claim that you are presenting is the first claim that you've made probably in 10 years if you've been paying on an account a specific way, which no fault upon you. You still were in honor. You were still satisfying an obligation. It's just that might not have been the only acceptable performance that you could have administered. So that's what we get to. It's what we teach. It's just being competent and expanding your toolbox so that you can succeed and get assets to acquire things, defend your state, your claim, your privacy, and enjoy and be in harmony with commerce. Because the issue isn't so much distinguishing yourself, setting yourself apart. It's the issue is the ego. Because what keeps you locked in a competition cycle, a predator-prey relationship, is the need to assert an offense. Our claim isn't rooted on someone's hurt upon you. It's upon defending your right. If you make a point that is based off of someone else's point, that is not a claim. That is a counterclaim. It means that everything that you are drawing from is based on rebutting or displacing someone else's truth.
Instead of standing on your own.
Yes. You want to make for the stuff?
Yeah, you can't have it both ways. Cannot have it both ways. A lot of us want to move that way, but that's not going to get you what you want.
And it's not equitable. If you are making a counterclaim and you lose your positional authority, guess what you've assumed? A lesser position. You still have authority, but it's been reduced. So what do? How do you get yourself out of that problem or conflict without surrendering? What's the recovery? Most people don't have that recovery. And the forfeiture that they have is time and energy that they've expended towards continuously poking and prodding and counterclaiming, as opposed to making a claim of your own accord and standing in it.
Mm-hmm. It's much that we do so. A lot of us, when we're getting into it, we don't have the recovery. We don't understand proper stance in any matters, and you don't understand the matter at a base level because we're approaching it as a victim instead of from a place of authority because you've never established it, especially properly. So if you don't establish your authority, how can you assume that role? How can you say that what I have done is created something when you haven't told them that? And you're trying to justify through statutes that don't apply to you right now. So you can't even utilize a statute if you don't have a proper stance. You're not even in a corner in the ring. You're the one who's throwing tomatoes at something.
If you are in that capacity and it is applicable, the trade-off is that you are a disregarded entity. And that's a specific phrase, meaning that you're disregarded. Key point. Everything that you say is privileged. You benefit from what you're given and not what you request. You can't be denied. So what do I have to do to get back right? You have to take your time and comprehend what you're trying to achieve. I know that that sounds reductive, but if you don't have clear intentions with where you're going, your destination is cyclical. You're going right back in that circle and diminishing your energy and your resolve to get where you're trying to go. We know where you're trying to go, or where most people aspire to, but it takes a commitment to that intention. You have to have the foresight, and that's where the method comes in, because one aspect is the mental preparation, the emotional preparation to have that resolve, to distinguish that personality, that rigor, and that discipline and patience to regard yourself in that manner. Because commerce is, well, it's battlefield. It is war, and many times we take a lot more losses than we do winning, or winning to the degree that we want, until we understand and comprehend the method that's being practiced. Because it's not different. The way that other people are doing business on the other side, i.e. your opponents, your competition, the way they're doing business is no different than any of the methods you could employ. It's just you haven't put yourself into that vehicle appropriately to say anything, to be heard.
Because at this point, you're pretty much like, I don't know if out there where you are, brother, you guys have toll roads where there are people in there that's accepting tender. A lot of us are those toll road people, those toll road workers in our own accounts. So you're just exchanging tender in your accounts. If you're just going to be that, then literally every car that's going by, all of these vehicles that's just running by, there's nothing that you can do to place a claim or a stance on that money that's being rendered. You just can't do it. If you don't have the proper stance, if you don't understand the method, if you're chasing your tail, they're going to allow you to do so. You can yell and scream and bark and complain and send complaints to, we know these places like the for entertainment purposes only, the BBB, and then the CFPB, and all those other entities. You're trying to state claims on matters you have not established your proper role in. They can't do anything but get a response, and you don't know what to do with the response because you haven't established anything. Right now, they're Columbus in your account. They're just coming through and saying that this is mine, and I'll claim this, and I have this, and this is how you're going to conduct yourselves. And most people just comply so that they can continue to enjoy whatever the property is or the acquisition may be. But you have equitable stance in this stuff. But you have to do it first. You have to create that equitable stance. Throw some likes in the chat if that's something that you guys feel and understand.
Appreciate it. Peace and love. Gifted Met. We see all y'all. Spicy Pisces 82. We see you. Appreciate you. Yes. There's property that has been lost. If you didn't know it, you want to really study and understand what debt is. Debt is actually personal property. I'll leave that nugget there and distinguish that privately, but it's personal property. That means that something can be done with it.
Mm-hmm. I hear you saying. Dropping them today.
Yeah.
Dropping them today.
Straight to it.
Mm-hmm. And that's where the importance of understanding the method comes into play, family. That is the trick. That's the trick of the trade. And this is literal. This is the trick of the trade. Understanding your method. I mean, the same way that you're going to deal with anyone without having a receipt attached to it, if they owe you something, there is a stance that you have on what you're giving to someone else. And if they establish a different stance and can enforce themselves with you, then they can maintain that stance and enforce themselves with you.
Yeah. Non-judicially. That means they don't have to go into a courtroom to do that because they're having a conversation with you. They're trying to keep their relationship with you. The issue is that you're not speaking up. You're the girlfriend who's getting neglected or boyfriend that's getting neglected because you're not speaking up. You want that extra attention? Go the extra mile and say and assert your claim.
Mm-hmm.
But don't degrade yourself and stand in place of principle because we're agents. Something is owed, yes. And if there's personal property, that means there's rights. And rights allow you to do what? They give you enjoyment. If you don't have enjoyment, you have an obligation, responsibility to someone or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's putting that together and demonstrating that and carrying yourself through so that you get what you want and they get what they want, because this is all about mutuality of obligations. We're not saying finesse, get out, get over. It's understanding competently what you're demonstrating, what the alternatives are you give, because it's not nuanced off of them. The claim that you're bringing is your battlefield. You are saying, I'm waging this war, but you're waging war without bloodshed. If you're shedding blood, guess what you're shedding? Anger. You're negotiating from a weak place.
Mm-hmm.
We negotiate from authority. That means that you give your best option and your preference. Best outcome and preference. Notice I didn't say the lesser. I said best option and preference. What is the best possible outcome? What is my preferred outcome? That is the Eisenhower method, so that you guarantee your middle sweet spot solution.
Amen.
Yes. You do that with conduct. And the rigor comes from wisdom. We've learned this through hardships. Everything was not just, hey, I'm just going to win because I'm speaking correctly. You got to replicate it. And that's the method. That's what most people miss. You stop doing it before you see the fruit. And of course, you don't see the benefit. You're in the garden, you're watering it, and then summertime comes and you go on vacation. You're expecting it to bear fruit.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to benefit. Maybe next season, if you're lucky, nature will run its course, but you're leaving a lot to chance.
Mm-hmm. And understanding this method, you leave nothing to chance. Every base is covered. You're hitting grand slams at this point.
Yes.
We're not catching any fly balls. We're not doing any of that. You're hitting it clean out of the stadium because you know your stance. You know what they're going to throw because you're the one that initiated it. Did you initiate it out of anger?
No.
Did you initiate it combatively? Or
Negative.
did you initiate it with a mutual benefit.
Yes.
That's the key. You need mutual benefit on both sides in order to get the preferred outcome and the latter.
Yeah. The nuance, right? We're giving it future oriented. We're talking about choices. How can I give them the choices that I want? Because I'm bringing the claim. We're not talking about the past. That hurt already was felt. You've already had that stung feeling on your cheek. We're not residing in the hurt. We're moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
That is good faith. That is knowing and demonstrating your wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
It moves you from that prey predator relationship into competency. You are now a war power, a fighting vessel, a vessel that is to a pirate a worthy opponent, and as such, something to be respected, someone to be respected.
Mm-hmm. You repel that activity. You repel piracy. You repel it. As long as you have a proper stance and your flag is being waved the proper way. Sam's spitting tonight, guys. I don't know what's going on. He's sipping some good tea.
Yes, sir.
But that is the trick of the trade. Okay, lose the green screen, sir. I will not. I will not. I will respect my stance like Warrior 34.
Yes, but we acknowledge you for the engagement. Appreciate you coming in, giving us your attention. You're here
Amen.
for a reason.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
You said, do I have cricket? No, not at all. I'm going to come here more. Most definitely, Mr. Green. Yes, sir.
Appreciate your
Come and get the knowledge, man. Come and really, the more that you are hearing these things, the more that it's going to tap a different side of you, and your attention will be paid to self growth. It will definitely be paid to self growth. That's the encouragement here. Respect the smart screen. I got you. I'm really enjoying that piracy type of ordeal. That's what needs to be absorbed here, especially for today, because that's what you're going against. You're going against those people who are pirating against you, trying to take something from you in an aspect, but you've given to them without understanding it.
yes. Really and truthfully, it's at sea, but it extends there too, because that's all commerce, all navigation, everything that can be explored.
Mm-hmm.
Stake your claim.
L White. Oh yes, just DM me. Just DM me, family, and we'll get it going. So, I see you, brother. I do. I see you, family. I'm not too sure. Right in, my friend.
Yes, sir.
You gotta speak from an intelligent, positive place. Oh, most definitely.
Yes.
That is, that's an equitable mentality. We have to have it, guys. You don't have that equitable mentality, you cannot expect any equity on the other end. No one owes us a damn thing. Nothing. Nothing is owed to you. You have a proper stance, you'll get that light from it, you'll bear fruit out of it. You literally have given them a plant with shade over it that they get to take the shade off whenever they see fit. They take the fruit whenever they see fit. They can raise and lower rates on you whenever they see fit because you're not having a proper stance. Allow them whatever fruit they're trying to get from the private enjoyment that you're receiving from these acquisitions that you have. Allow that to be so. But allowing it to be so means that you should be enjoying it as well without the obligatory responsibility out of that account. That's what your fiduciaries are for. They're there to handle that. But if you haven't told them what you are, it is your responsibility, since you want to put a bloody blanket over yourself and live in the dead. Heard from this live, and thanks for the wisdom. No problem, family.
Absolutely. It's what we are here to cultivate. You have a vessel that is apart from you, separate from you, bearing many of the same things, birthed on the same day as you, entering and passing through a specific plane, a plane that you do not personally exist in. We don't exist in the water. We were raised and cultivated in water, exist in water. We exist somewhere else. And understanding that, that is how you demonstrate your competence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is everyone's personal journey. And that's why we don't teach from a template. We teach from the concept so that you can have the rationale and the delivery to speak appropriately, because we don't want you to be belligerent. That's not our goal. We're not advocating for anything that is outside of reasonable intellect. You should be able to put this together. You should be able to speak freely about this, discuss it, honor
Mm-hmm.
yourself, have the dignity to say it with conviction, and not have it be complicit to any fraud or degrading of your character. Because again, two bodies. One body is physical, another body is fictional. It exists in a medium, water, the replica of water. It is your mirror image. It goes through many places that you cannot reach personally, but it gives you all of its fruit, all of its benefit. You put as much energy into it as you would what? Anything of your own creation. But you may not have the same regard for it or respect for it that you really should, because it is not you. It protects you if you allow it to, because it's a pass through, a go between.
Mm-hmm. So utilize that vehicle, utilize that vessel as it's supposed to be utilized. And those that created it protects you. A lot of us don't see the things that we were born with and attached to us with as things to protect us and benefit from. We see them as toe tags. And they are literally the exact opposite. That is a true benefit. And its true intention had to be in equity in order to even be. Has to. We're creatures of light. So they had to construct something of light to keep you in the dark, make you believe that it was something that it was not.
Composite, meaning something of quasi nature,
Mm-hmm.
duality.
Yep. Ignorant to know the process. Amen. And it's going to take communities, and it's going to take just certain entities that's going to introduce the light within you to show you that it's there. That's all we're doing. It's just showing you that it's light there. A lot of us want to do something completely opposite, but just be mindful of what resonates with you and what doesn't. Because if it doesn't resonate with you, there's no reason to pay attention to it. Even antagonizing it gives it more life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want yourself to be antagonized, don't do it to any company. Don't do it to anything else, especially if you know you can't handle it. You have to handle yourself. You have to take your emotions out of your emotion stops motion. And this is a fluent existence, if you allow it to be. If that makes sense, Brother Sam.
It makes perfect sense. I follow the soundness of your logic. You're grounded in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
That is the body that you're moving through. It's not physical.
In the state of grace. In
Yeah.
the state of grace. Amen. Emotion stops motion. A lot of us live in emotion. A lot of us have entertainers that keep us in some kind of emotion to drive us where they want us to go. It is an immense amount of distractions out here to keep you from what it is that you are. The moment that you wake up to it, Wouldn't even necessarily say wake up, but grow into it. You cannot be, you cannot be stopped. That's the whole purpose of it, is to not be stopped. Your thoughts are electric. Your heart is magnetic quantum physics. I need to school you already. I like what I see. I hear you. Light warriors out here in these streets on TikTok.
Proudly, we see.
Mm-hmm.
That is the kind of conviction you have to have, because your conduct should be in agreement with your values. If it's not, what rights do you have? Because your value is exchanged for that right, that standing that you have in any matter: commerce, political, social. You don't have influence or persuasive ability if you don't have a grasp of that.
Mm-hmm. You can tell. I mean, you have to have a certain kind of pull regardless. So if you are grounded in your value, you can pull that energy to yourself. But if not, you're just going to antagonize. A lot of people antagonize to try to pull from other magnetic forces when you have it in you already. Grow thyself, create whatever it is that you're trying to generate, and enjoy your life. We don't ride any coattails here. We build off of one another. We build with one another. I should say.
Mm-hmm. We are here to build.
Mm-hmm. We're all builders. You don't need to be a certain kind of secret society member in order to do so.
I'll
It must be the truth. It must be the truth. But that's that authenticity that we have to have within ourselves when we're dealing with these things, guys. Your life is not meant to cause you any kind of affliction. It's really not. It's an experience to grow in.
Yes. There are many, many little hints, little nuggets that will draw your natural impulse, the creative, the curious aspect of yourself. That's where the resonance is. And you see it replicated. You always get choices. You're always given choices. The issue is that we don't execute, we don't practice building and aligning ourselves to that freedom, to that unlimited amount of choices, so that no matter what we're being faced with, we have the ability to navigate, to resolve problems, to bring closure, yes, and settle the affairs of the world, of the spirit. Because really and truly, that's the toll tag that he spoke of. That's the dead energy that binds us to this construct. It's not
Mm-hmm.
harmful, not in the true sense. It is a picturesque existence, a replication of something much deeper.
Much, much deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really good at. We've been studied for millennia. For millennia. You've been studied for millennia. How they teach you, to how it is that you come out of those teachings. What they see you grasping and what things can distract you from grasping. How they can keep us pinned against one another, even if it is the alternative divine part of ourselves, which is the opposite sex. We've been taught to fight with one another instead of take care of ourselves. You take care of yourself, you're going to naturally take care of those that you're around. And you can't take care of those that you're around if you are deprived of basic private enjoyment capability.
Yes.
We have to teach one another these things as much as we can from an equitable standpoint. And we're not willing to teach anyone else because a lot of us wants to be above someone instead of being with everyone. That's not our purpose here, is to lord over anything. Our purpose here is to love one another and build with one another, take care of one another. We see incorrect activity to show correct activity without making them feel as if they are. lesser than you because you remain in a positive stance. Because it still takes negative energy to keep positive energy. Therefore, you know the difference. A lot of the negative is coming from self, and you generate that out to other people instead of correcting it here, then taking care of one another. Can't correct anything if you're not correcting yourself, family. And believe me, I've done a lot of correcting of self. Sam has done a lot of correcting of self. We've yelled at each other. We've gone at it with one another many times. However, it took that exchange to balance ourselves, to get out of here and doing what we're doing once a week for everyone, to make sure that we're not holding it in for ourselves to lord over anything else. We're not special at all. We're great within ourselves, and we want you guys to get the same thing. We desire that. I know I do for a fact. And if he didn't feel that way, he wouldn't have taught me what I've been able to accomplish and bring through TikTok to get you guys here in the first place. So it's all love here. And, let's talk about the things that we got to talk about. What are the things that are going to help you guys grow with this administrative process? Because this is what is needed more than anything else. Not the SPCs, not paperwork on public record, although I do speak on these things. They're not as important as your ability to create your stance and enforce the resolve that you desire to have. We're all focused on the nuance, and we're not paying any attention to the rights that you already have. Mm-hmm.
Sir. From the heart chakra, that is your spiritual center.
That's it.
Acknowledging everybody that's come through. We appreciate you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your energy. Confidence in self, yes, that is what you are demonstrating with your action, your conduct, internal and external. It should mirror until there is no divide, until you're synchronizing your thought, you're manifesting your will.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Beginning. Beginning was the word, fellas.
Yes.
What words are you speaking? What words do you understand first? Because we say things that we don't. We say things that we don't understand. They taught you one side of language, and there's many sides to this particular language. So you have to know how you're speaking it.
Mm-hmm. Comes from you. Who is controlling the tense? When we teach, when we lecture, we are controlling the tense. You want to be persuasive, you want to have influence. First, you have to have the resolve to be clear about your intention. Why would anyone side with or coincide with someone who's in disorder? It's getting your house in order.
Mm-hmm. Getting your house in order. It's cleaning your room. It's taking care of your vehicle. You in? You have to. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. If you want out the matrix, you can definitely get out of it, but be mindful of the pirates that are waiting for you to get out there because they perfected that crap too.
Mm-hmm.
I can't teach anyone to get out of it. Teach you how to be competent within it, so you become the agents. Become those pirates without pirating.
Privateer. We are
Privateer.
maintaining our privacy.
Yes, sir.
CCC. You hear that?
Hear
The
ye, hear ye.
language, the language of the water, which is regularity and custom. You are able to. We distinguish many things. There is no limitation.
Mm-hmm.
If you eat meat, certain level of discipline, I don't disagree that you wouldn't be able to. I don't personally eat meat, but that's a discipline that I've resolved for my personal experience.
Mm-hmm. As he doesn't, I do. There's a balance. Don't overindulge. Don't overindulge. I eat once a day, and from that, I'm able to get rid of what I need to get rid of. Lots of water, 1 meal a day, lots of knowledge, lots of understanding, lots of conversations, lots of helping my brothers and sisters get to where they need to go, fellowship. Those kinds of things are already professed in many different texts, even all the way back to Tahuti. All right. Right.
Glad you're in it. Appreciate you all coming in. Those just joining, we're talking about a variety of things, talking about commerce, talking about administrative processes, talking about your conduct. We always want to remain in honor. We are doing things to distinguish ourselves from dishonor. You do that by your conduct, written and spoken, action and evidence. Evidence being fictional, paperwork.
Man, an honorable soul is protected divinely. There will be many that oppose honorable people, but as you can see, they usually all fall to the wayside. Then they hold up their 6 rings of championships of them sticking to themselves and their resolve and their practice. We have to allow those to be who they are.
Good night, Light Warrior. Peace and love, brother.
Peace, family.
See you.
Dishonor is the deception that we are indoctrinated into. That is a fact. They want us living in dishonor, which is okay. It's just those we have to see who can get through that we want to embrace.
And understanding the game and what it is. Because you're not here. You're not induced to be here. This is voluntary. Much as we may believe otherwise, it's voluntary. You brought your attention here in the same way that you brought your attention to anything else you've been drawn to in your life. The only thing that was quantified, what you grasped or retained, what was special, valuable, and important to you. That was your profit. That was the wage that you earned for the work that you were conducting.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that worldly wage puts you in a nice, comfortable space or got you nice possessions, baubles, but we're not speaking to or fixating on worldly possessions. We are talking about your internal compass. What is that being drawn from? It's your value. How do you enforce or protect it? The same way that you manifest it, by having that value and extending it outward. That is the regularity and custom of law. That is the way that it's still continued to work, regardless of what civilization rises and falls. Rome fell conceptually a very long time ago. We still use the same customs. We still have a credit system based off of intrinsic values, intrinsic ideas that are substantial to the human mind and vehicle, because they exist apart from us. There's a truth that speaks through us. When we grasp that, we can eliminate that conflict. That's what we're trying to do with our reasoning ability. We are trying to resolve our problems, our differences. How do you do that? By being in agreement, by making things beneficial, profitable. So if you want to do that in commerce, give better options. What's a better option than a gift? I give gifts to my friends. I give gifts out of love. The energy and attention that we give to this is out of love. We don't quantify making money off of this. I'm not for that.
Amen. That comes naturally. Everything comes to abundance in those who move in abundance. If you have a lot to give, you have a lot to receive. Even more to receive, because the world therefore gives it back to you in tenfold. Give everything Caesar is giving you back. Give it back and receive it in tenfold. For honor. Amen. That was the original currency. You wouldn't be around any kind of prestigious family without it. And it took a couple of generations to establish it. Therefore, you should move in a similar manner nowadays. being amongst honorable people who do honorable things, who move in honorable ways. And you're going to have an honorable life.
Mhm.
Those who do not will antagonize those who do. It's just nature.
Mhm. That is the conquest. That is the natural order. But what always prevails is what? What birthed it? What came first? The truth or the fiction? When you understand the process, you can replicate the value. And intrinsically, that is what we all aspire to, regardless of what medium we choose to express it through. That is what we are striving towards perfecting.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Not perfection, but perfecting.
Perfecting, yes. We are perfecting this. We are manifesting this, exchanging our building blocks with each other so that we can become whole once more.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we are at a loss, we're just enjoying the experience of being broken apart to come together. That means changing forms. We change forms to do what? To go into new territory. So if you're developing your agency, you are protecting your worldly treasures by doing what? Mining your intrinsic value. Finding comfort and solace in the space of your mind, space of your body, space of your commercial body. Each of those has an importance and a regard and a respect that should be paid to it. It's an attribute of you, but it is not you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. This is why this last series of videos that I've been putting out have been everyone understanding the roles. And this is strictly for just commerce itself. I haven't broken into the spiritual aspect of you, the living soul, just yet for a reason. Because we can't get to the spiritual living soul side of ourselves until we understand the vehicle that we're operating in on a daily basis. You're doing this on a daily basis more than you're operating out of your living soul. And you may not understand what I'm saying, but you are operating in a commercial vehicle right now. And you want remedy out of a vehicle you don't understand. That's like hopping inside of a Ferrari. If you guys have never been inside of a Ferrari, there's a different type of shift in there.
Mm-hmm.
It drives different. It moves different. So if you're not understanding the vehicle that you're in, how are you going to hop into this other vehicle that they kept you away from your entire life? Your living soul side. You don't have to eat meat for 10 to 20 years, but you will be in despair because you are trying to operate another vehicle for a gain that you don't understand. Said they are wild to drive. Oh, yes. A lot of us can't even get around those things because we don't know how to touch them. You don't know the value of proof of funds, paperwork, understanding your principal. You're the agent too. Yes, you may understand that you have a title that you were born with that has value. You want to cash it out and be pirated against, that's fine. That is a personal choice to make. But amongst honorable men, we're going to encourage you to slow down. You need to
Slow
slow
down.
down.
Build up your defenses. Build up that armament. Not for the sake of warfare, but for the sake of protection. So you quantify your experience. You say to yourself, not what I have amassed, but what I have gained.
Mm-hmm.
What can I resolve? When you are looking at matters for resolution and giving it your resolution, that is what we perfect with our admin process, with our outlook of the world and our experience. How do I provide resolution and carry through the rest in our energy?
Mm-hmm. Amen. Sam spitting today. What's up? And I really am hoping that you guys are enjoying this for fulfillment purposes, to be honest. Because the more that you feel yourself, you begin to overflow. And that's the biggest trick right there. You overflow yourself. You gain the most understanding possible, and you are spilling out of your heart, out of your spirit. these things that it has even attracted you to come here now. It's dealt with the overflow and abundance of understanding that we have to give frivolously. You know, we should all aspire to get to these points in our lives, to have an abundance of energy to overflow into other people. If you only have a cup of energy and you're trying to give a cup of energy to the world, you will do better watering something in yourself with that cup of energy than you would trying to give it to everyone else outside of yourself. Because you can't keep giving parts and pieces of yourself to others and then expecting them to do the same to you, because you're going to cyborg your existence with one another. You don't want to do that. You want an abundance of these things. You know, you guys understand that? Just drop a few more hearts. Let's try to get a few more people in here before we head out. We've been on here for a nice little minute, but I'm thoroughly enjoying this. If you got some questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat, family. Thank you, thank you. Freedom 776 going in. Miss Escobar's, thank you, thank you. And as far as the basic concept here, at least what I'm trying to give on the channel, is the understanding of the admin process, guys. We know not how to protect ourselves. We know not how to stand tall in anything, because they've made you believe you have nothing, and you can only gain it through a credit score. Credit score does not matter at all. It is a median of competency, and if you're able to get through that hurdle, get over that hurdle, get through that fence, that's something that's not going to keep you away from things that you want to enjoy through proper acquisition without blanket endorsements. We have to understand that basic concept. However you start something, you should finish it. But there is a way to correct these things. You have the ability to do so. You have the right to do so, which is the present. The right is in the present. The past is damage. Future is nuance. You want the nuance, but you're not respecting the present with the rights that you do have, thinking about the past that has already happened and that you can't fix or correct. Those are the damages. Those are damages, but we're not bringing those damages into our present. You never go into a relationship with a damaged heart and spirit expecting a great nuanced future with the next individual that you want to deal with. You must respect yourself in the present. You must honor your rights now. Therefore, you can use what you're honoring now, knowing the damage that was done, to get to the nuance that you want to be. And I dedicate that part to Sam. Just drop that today.
Yep.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Understanding the concept, having process before correcting status, and live life claim. If that is a question, I highly encourage that. Yes.
Yes, it's important.
Most of my channels for people who have already established their admin process. Therefore, I'm building on to those people, to those living souls. You can't come looking at the icing on the cake and want the icing on the cake to be where you start from. No, you got to go bake. You got to go whip that up. That's the admin process.
Know your ingredients so that you can give that exquisite touch, that nuance. Everyone makes apple pie, but your apple pie has nutmeg or cumin.
And it's organic.
That is it.
Y'all overflow with knowledge and wisdom.
We appreciate each of you. Jimmy Eldridge, we acknowledge you, brother. Wall Doctor, we acknowledge you. Aaron, we acknowledge you. Appreciate you tapping in, engaging, tap the screen, share it, like it, ask questions if you wish. We're talking about it for those of you who are new. Oh, absolutely. We talk about administrative process, talk about honor and dishonor, commerce, understanding your vehicle, agency, and agent relationships. So everything is relationships.
Yes.
How often should we use that? That is a specific concept. The color is really and truthfully not important. It's the principle that you're distinguishing with the color. So if you don't know why you're using one or the other, it's not useful to you. Extra fluff. It looks nice conceptually, but does nothing to demonstrate what you're trying to explain. So you explain yourself more than you.
You
Fix
over
it.
explain something you don't understand and put yourself in a situation that you don't want to be.
Yes.
Respect the process that you began with because you didn't sign it initially that way.
Nope. Just be concise.
Mm-hmm.
Be concise.
Yeah, that's why I do not speak on those colors. The rainbow matters not to someone who is not enlightened, including myself. It's only so far I'm willing to take certain things because I know what works in the realm that I have mastered. So I can only speak on a mastered realm to encourage people to get to that level and go wherever they need to go for themselves. So build, so I adapt and understanding quickly your analogies. Thank you. I shall do my best to speak that way because it worked for me. But I learned from Sam. I learned from him. And from my understanding of what he says, I use these analogies in order to make it stick in my soul. That's only I think that way. So often and when do these lives happen? Can you be a little bit more
I think he's
consistent?
asking how often we get on TikTok for this
Oh,
specifically.
once a week, I believe, right? Maybe twice.
Once a week, we may be moving it up some more as we see people engaging. It's really a need basis. There's a lot of stuff that we can explore that we do privately because, again, your rights are a private affair, and as such, we can't teach competency publicly. We can only do so privately. We have much love for you, but we understand the liability that comes with giving people tools that they are not prepared for. You would not give a arms, and I'm saying arms instead of the specific word, to a child because you don't want them to direct that energy at another living soul for the wrong purpose. So it's understanding where we're trying to go, where you intend to go, because we've already done so, and preparing your minds, your hearts by the invitation, because you're invited to engage. We're doing this because we enjoy it. Same time, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's literally after our class with our students. We get on here. We call it overtime, and we enjoy them both equally. So I think we went over like an hour and a half with the students, and it's still just that abundance. Got to get it out. That's how I rest easier as well too, knowing that I've given everything I had that day to the world itself. So that way I can rest, rejoice, replenish, and get back to it the next day.
Topics multifaceted. We're talking about administrative process, honor, dishonor, commerce, moving in honor, doing your
Mm-hmm.
best, putting forth your good faith effort. We are building a community, building relationships. We're not trying to destroy commerce. We are trying to make it profitable, mutually beneficial to everyone who is a party to it.
It's all about the ability to enhance.
Yes.
You didn't decide to come to this realm to destroy it. You came here to enhance it, to give it clarity, to guide more souls. If you're not guiding anyone, you are in their way. Second time I've seen trust your gut feeling. No athlete becomes successful before falling many times. Lots of going back to the drawing board.
Absolutely.
Most definitely. We do our best to keep you from falling. At least that way, if you have the fundamentals, you can make your free throws. I'd rather you lose scoring your highest amount in your career than winning scoring your lowest. Because even at that point, you still gain equity. You're gonna have respect, and you're gonna have stance with this particular entity that you are not opposing, but trying to gain your stance in. They will respect you, even if they get the upper hand just a little bit. Sometimes losses are your biggest victories if you handle them correctly.
The power of concession is a multitude. You can conditionally accept a lot and leverage it for your benefit. Not the only practice. We talk about it loosely, but having that versatility is what gives you that assurance that you're doing something and that it's sticking, that you can replicate it. Because we want you to be able to replicate it. The issue isn't having a template that fits every situation. It's not having the proper respect and regard for your ability to resolve problems. If you don't respect that, you don't identify that, everything else that follows is going to be outside of your means. Yes, mindset is preparation. Mindset and method. Method is secondary to mindset. So your clear intentions guide your manifestation. You don't have clear intentions, everything that you're doing, great. What's an administrative process? It's a claim. What is the claim that you're making? Is it to get FRNs? Credit? You're trying to get credit. You've already established credit by doing something, acting as an agent, signing, generating debt. But if you don't have respect for that utility, for how you manifest, then you degrade that reserve. You exhaust energy. That is the conflict that you are creating or amplifying by not understanding how you can go forward. And going forward means changing the tense. We are talking about choices. You give choices to get resolutions that you prefer.
Yep. And this, I looked at the administrative process this way, and it really helped us. It helped me to stick to it. It's only one way to get fruit from a tree. It's only one way to grow a tree. You have to plant that seed. You have to plant that understanding. After you have eradicated all other methods in your mind and understand that it all derives from what? A method. You can plant that same seed, you can water it the same way, and always get the outcome that you desire in many different ways. Because not all fruit bared is good fruit. And not all fruit is shaped exactly the same, but it's still going to be an apple if it's an apple tree. It's still going to be an orange if it's an orange tree. Let's say the orange tree is conditional acceptance. Let's just say your resolution tree is an apple. Let's just say your mango tree is you getting equitable exchange and more private enjoyment. There's always going to be a similar method to getting it that way, but it may not always bear as much fruit. If you keep it on a basic level, you're always going to get the most out of your outcome. At least from my experience, that's how it's been for me. Because we can't overwater something. It still takes patience. You can't underwater something. It still takes that know-how. You have to know what you're doing here. Know what the next step is going to be, but not expecting it to go against you. A lot of us are ready to fight instead of just being ready to enforce. Keep pushing it through. Keep walking your cart to the next marketplace, to the next merchant, to the next customer. If you aren't doing that, you're always going to be holding yourself back. Instead of giving it away, you're going to be throwing it at people. You have to construct your honor base better than those that you are quote unquote opposing it with. Like
Yes.
instead of coming at them telling them you owe me, how about you tell them what they can receive from this exchange?
Why is it beneficial to them to hear you? They know you're honorable. Clearly, if you're speaking, you're honorable. Because anybody who speaks up for themselves is honorable. Even in ignorance, you have that honor, that understanding and respect for the consequences of your actions. But making it more conducive to your situation is tailoring that. And that means we have to have the resolve. Yes, the language. Language is comprehension. So we have to translate abstract into what? Practical application. And what's abstract? What creates us? The value. It's intrinsic. What's practical is what? Commerce, paper, fiction, external.
Mm-hmm.
Once you can attribute that, you can see the play and you can perform, because everything is a tender of performance, whether it's negotiable instruments, FRNs, or a endorsement, signature, generating debt.
Commercial paper.
It's conceptual. It had to begin with the abstract. The abstract of us, the architecture of us, what came before the fiction, what became of the vessel,
Mm-hmm.
what will the vessel be? And our light has transferred to another space. Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you all, Doctor.
Exactly. Yeah, Waldo getting it in.
Yes. You are unveiling your true nature. And that is what this is. It is your natural curiosity that compels you to stay here. It draws your attention in. That's what you are making manifest.
Mm-hmm.
And that will either enhance and build upon what you are developing, or it will erode things that no longer serve you.
Mm-hmm. It's where a lot of us are maintaining ourselves in erosion. You got to start over. If you don't break old habits, you're going to always be stuck in the same outcomes. And that's what we want to change. You want to change the outcome. How can you change the outcome if you haven't changed how you started something? That's part of I love communicating and interacting.
It is how we grow. It's how we grow at an exponential speed, just through connection. And that's the social aspect to it. That's why we teach in a community and not in isolation. Many people can read books and learn the letter arduously, privately, quietly. You do that already. But we're meant, for our betterment, to exist in relationships, in community.
I got you.
That is the agreement
Thank you,
that we
freedom.
made with ourselves. And
Yeah, I feel like we're touching quite a few people today, brother.
yes,
They're opening up.
thank you for all of the incoming traffic, new and old, or familiar, I should say, because we're all familiar, whether you know it or not. Thank you for touching base with us again. Yes, ma'am. We see you, freedom. Absolutely. That is what we benefit from. We engage at all levels. I don't believe that it is a detriment. It's a building block. We each can add to our skill set. We can talk about this because we've demonstrated. There's things that you have perfected in your experience that only you could teach. And that's what we advocate for. But you can only do that when you are in comfort, when you have that agreement with yourself. When do we duo? Typically, we do this right after our private lectures. So it's usually around 7, 8. Was it Pacific time? Not.
That'd be because you started about 4, so I started about 6. So Pacific time about 8.
Yes, sir. We see you, Stan.
Oh, Stan, what's going on, man?
Yep, sir.
Yeah, he was in class.
Yep. I think I saw Jay too.
Oh, Jake in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Earlier, I believe.
Stumbling block or stepping stone. Amen. Freedom, you need to come to class with it. Because you're amazing.
Yep. Hey, that is physical architecture, and that is truly a gift. No work of art is too small.
All is needed.
What's going on?
Good. What's up? What's up? Told you the overtime was gonna be here. All praise to the Most High. That's right.
Supreme being.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. What else we got? Boy, let me know
Appreciate
when
your
I'm supposed to pick those
engagement.
up.
If you have any questions, make sure you're adding them in the chat if you so choose.
Yes, it does. Okay. Definitely supreme. Most definitely.
Yep.
Great time, content, and teaching coach. No problem, sweetie. Any questions, guys?
Or
We
comment.
are on a buzz.
Yep. Speak freely and with conviction. Thank you for sharing the live, L. White. See you. Appreciate you. I know a little bit about this, so where you recommend I start?
Admin process.
Administrative process. It's learning and breaking stuff down to the square. What is the root? Why are you doing it? So understanding your intention, that will give you more direction on what you're trying to manifest. If you are trying to understand commerce, you have to understand relationships. And what is the first most basic aspect of commerce and relationships? It's agent and agency relationships, the relationship between an agent and a principal, someone who is acting on the behalf of someone else.
That's right.
Excellent nature. We hope to see you in class.
Oh, VIP soon, amen. If you don't have any questions, I just know where I was going sideways. Exactly. That's where the understanding starts, brother. That's where the understanding starts. It starts where you stop setting yourself back. Believe me, how many times do we go back?
Many. And it's not a misstep. It's just understanding that you're in alignment with your own timing. Can't move any faster than your comprehension.
Mm-hmm. Say several, yep.
And you will be shown as much because your actions have to coincide with that. So begin with agency and administration to principles. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That
Couldn't have
is
said
what
it
we
any more.
perfect and understand. Once you grasp that, then you can elevate beyond that. But it's understanding that small premise that allows you to properly endorse commercial instruments and to discharge obligations. And that's what we want. We want to eliminate liability. We want to remain in honor. Be due diligent. Pay it forward. And not necessarily with another debt, but with energy, care. We have the same standard of care that we extend to others. And it's important to know both sides so that you can operate and choose. You want that freedom of choice of whether you do one thing or do another thing. Do I want to pay or do I want to perform? If I perform, what do I need to do? On the other hand, what does the accounting look like? Yes, it's what everyone aspires towards, but is hidden behind the mystique of involvement. How involved are you in your application? Are you doing it from a place of conflict or are you doing it from a place of competence? We teach and we encourage and acknowledge competence. That's our public utility. It's knowing that there is a vessel that is apart from you. It is not you. It protects your treasure. It holds some treasure, but it is not you.
It is. What you mean? Okay, brother. Most definitely.
Sir, thank you for the acknowledgement, Moochie. Hope that we can give you some things to look at, research, explore at your leisure, because it's truly voluntary, not compelling you, you're not under duress. You're here in harmony with what we're expressing.
Amen. That's all anyone can require of you. All right, come get this knowledge. She's trying to get somebody to come in.
Appreciate it. Getting the taps up, getting the engagement up. Share it if you feel so moved to do so. Ask questions, leave comments. It's your pleasure, your leisure. I've been in Peru's over a year.
Thinking they meant to say pursuit.
Okay, pursuit.
Pursuit over a year. Most definitely. I mean, you're definitely coming across a great village. If it's just been a year. Hey, all acknowledgement to Sam on that. I promise you, I just take the boat and ride. Telling you.
It is all currency we are exchanging with each other. The importance and the aspect of maintaining any real power is the resolve that you have within yourself to regard the dignity and the responsibility of power. Personal, social, ethical, that's all stuff we quantify. You have that reasoning ability. And the goal and the outcome is to have your intention replicate your external. That is how you navigate. It's what you've already been demonstrating with your conduct. Good, bad, or indifferent of the outcome, that is what you are replicating.
We must continue to do so. We must, man.
One question, my next letter should be toned down and a lot more resolution. Yes, we seek resolution by giving resolutions. You're providing the choices. Versatility is everything. You don't give the abundance that you are already receiving. How do you expect to move past conflict? You don't invite anyone to the table without dinner prepared.
Straight like that. And a lot of the times we approach it in a resolutive mindset. You don't have to do that. You don't have to approach it that way. You just have to make sure that it's available.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make sure that it's present. As long as you make sure that it's there and it's present, you have the best option, and then you have the other. You always want to make sure that it's there. The better, and the great and the better. The great and the better, the great and the better. You can always do something with either one of those. We don't allow ourselves to get to that particular point because we're not watering this thing properly. You're not watering it with patience and understanding. You're watering it with, I deserve. You do not. You deserve nothing. You deserve only what you earn.
Wow, that is a contrary to what I may believe or what I may have understood. You need details. Okay. Seek. You are knocking at this door. You are gauging your presence, but what gave you permission to knock?
Sounds like awareness to me. You just became aware. Okay, now that you're aware, where are we going from here? Your awareness now has to be solidified with competency. How often have you guys heard competency? How often have you been aware? How often have you watered yourself with understanding?
The beautiful thing, it does not only apply to the United States because we're all in uniformity and regularity. That's the custom and regularity of commerce. That's applicable everywhere. Yeah, all under the same banner. There's an illusion of conflict. That's human engineered. That's an institution of something apart from.
You still have a ship and a serial number.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you have those two constructs, everything else applies.
Exactly.
You're not in Taliban rule.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
209 countries or something operate this way, most definitely. And if they aren't operating that way, they are pledged to them that way.
Mm-hmm.
It is still something that you need to operate outside of that particular country. You still got to get to another country to conduct commerce.
Yeah. It's just being careful with understanding the terminology. It may have been set up by some people for their own benefit or for something else, but the implication has to match natural order. It's still in congruence with natural order. The fact that you're aware is how you prepare yourself, it's how you resolve this problem or this supposed conflict that you are registering, that you're embracing and saying to yourself, I am not this thing. How do I conduct myself apart from this vessel, apart from this system? First, you have to understand the honor and purpose and intent that you have. What does it mean to be a part of anything? You can't break free of something if you don't grasp its limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you are not a disregarded entity. We see your value, we see your equity, each of you. You're here because your your attention is drawing you inward. You're looking for answers for clarity.
Use
Use
it
the
however
hats.
you see
Yes.
fit. Exactly. Yep. Hit it on the money. Check out those videos. The principal, the agent, the beneficiary, the fiduciary. These are the hats that are being worn in efforts to maintain your ignorance in a situation that you blanket endorsed. And once you get that awareness, it's open to you.
Mm-hmm.
But then your methods, you got to water with understanding, guys.
Stay blessed, Stan. We see you and look forward to having you in class again. I hope you're ready for the assessment.
You're going to be ready. You're going to be ready, Stan. As long as you know where it is that you need to grow into, that's what you're going to focus on. And that is literally what we're trying to teach you guys. Because you all have the talent. That's why you came to us in the first place. You had the talent. You had the courage to place to yourself a guide. Now that you have it, do not forsake it. Do not forsake yourself in this because you're expecting immediate gratification. That is the misconception of life. Immediate gratification. That's where technology comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
Immediate gratification. Who was it? Will I Am that said that technology and these devices can either aid you or they can harm you. How are you using it? Are you aiding yourself with this technology or are you dumbing yourself down each day? The fact that you guys came on here to listen to something that is completely contrary to public entertainment says a lot about yourself. And it does as a collective. And I appreciate all of this that you guys are doing as far as engaging with it. I mean, on a daily basis, I'm trying to construct the way to open and spark brains instead of trying to get a raise. I am the raise. I've been raised from the dead in order to come and do these things. So you guys, I hope you're doing the same. I was always in good standing. I just got frustrated when he was receptive to my offer. Yes, sir. That understanding matters. Now take the emotion out.
Yep.
Let's just get the tinfoil hat. Got you. Feel smart. Just listen to you guys. Gratitude. Blessings, Queen.
Yep.
We're solidifying our resolve here.
Sharing it with most
Okay.
times people mistake power plays for what they truly are, which is fear. They're fear induced. Anytime you get anger, frustration, You're preempting and mechanizing action that's not driven by the formative power of your reasoning. You have no direction for it. It's just being manifested.
Mm-hmm.
And that's chaos. That is pure and simple. We are here to order ourselves, and you order yourself, you augment your reality by replication, methodology, honor. That is what reciprocates. That is what equity is about: fairness, balance, bringing forth the abstract into the practical, what we're talking about. You could say that, but that is a speech in opposition. Well, doctor, I know that you're grasping what we're talking about. The system is just what? It's duality. How you utilize it speaks to the matter that you're in. Because politically, socially, economically, they all function under that same banner because it's still currency. So if not
I'll
your
put it to
attention,
you guys
where do you
like
stop?
this. Once you start to speak life into the system, it will benefit you. The moment that they want you to say, they want to see the opposition. They would love to see the opposition. Switch it up. Seriously. Like, the alphabet boys are there to benefit the estate. They're not there to harm the estate whatsoever. Are you going to comply and benefit, or are you going to oppose and create controversy? They can deal with controversy very well.
Easily. You're going to get the stamp on your forehead. Crazy, belligerent, adverse.
Come back every time.
Yep.
Then they're going to railroad you through all of similar-minded people, and then the conscious collective or unconscious collective are not going to bat an eye at you, regardless of what you're saying.
Worse yet, they're going to say anything that has substance in what you were saying is now what? Oh, don't do that. They're one of those people. They're one of this, that, or the other. That's your privacy. They don't know how to distinguish honor from dishonor. You expressing yourself should not be detrimental for anyone, even if you're wrong, presumed to be wrong. It is your truth, it is your abstract. Who else can distinguish it but you?
Mm-hmm.
The resolve and the resolution comes from extending that outward, making it so that your truth is not only relative, but inclusive. Because once you've gotten to that substance, you've gotten to the core of what is moving everything. That is the influence, that is the power of persuasion.
That's the gravity of understanding. That's how you can pull so many like minds together. Then that's where that conformity comes into play. That conformity is now going to generate something that everyone can protect each other with. Then from that, you're moving with the system that is now protecting you as well. Are you catching the orbit? Because that is what is the most paramount here, is to gravitate towards that kind of honor, to where you're protected on all sides and growing like minds. And that's what it all comes down to. I may not look like I'm the most non-combative person. However, my spirit and my actions exude the contradiction of controversy. And that's what we got to continue to move along with, guys. It's our actions. It's our understanding. It's not necessarily our feelings and our emotions. They matter not to this world. They don't. Emotions stop you from greatness. That's not what we're doing. We love everything that moves, everything that operates, and we benefit from it all as long as we allow ourselves to participate with it. If you don't want to participate with it, you pay it no mind. You give it no attention, therefore it has no life. But if you're going to participate in something, you must give it life. Give it the freedom to be that which what it is so that you can benefit. You know, if that makes sense, family. I always have to bring it back to the basics. You guys got to understand that. It's all love here. Yep, you get tripping in your feelings, you get in trouble. Seriously. Curse words are curses. Cursive is cursing against you. All of these things have valid definition for reasons.
Many people aspire towards control, aspire towards power, out of fear of relationships, of the fear of being found out, fear that they would stand apart from, or worse yet, the idea and the illusion that they are better than others because they comprehend these things naturally. It is your right and your honor to be here, to be present, engaging with each other. Same medium. But if we see each other as adversaries, we will not be able to provide resolution, at least not with a clear mind. That's the cognitive dissonance. That is what changes your perception, what gives you the complementary experience.
I had to learn the hard way. Lost everything. You just had a combative spirit that you needed to get away from. That's all that is. No, me and Sam have been through similar situations. However, we can still give to the world the greatest parts of ourselves every single day. Not everyone can do that because they have not come into that part of themselves. It's not your fault what others do. It is your fault what you pay attention to and what you put your heart into.
Yes.
Put your heart into your passion, and you will be blessed in abundance. We're teaching this kind of stuff. This isn't anything that you even go towards in college. You didn't even know the benefit.
Nope. And that is one of the things that is not taught in a traditional setting. It's taught at a later setting as an elective. It's rhetoric. How do we influence? How do we control the mind? Eliminate the anger? Control our passion? Yes, that's what I was suggesting.
No problem. I'm glad you tapped in.
Yes.
This is a normal day-to-day living for us, guys. Very, very normal. This is a normal day. Hey, nah, bro, they ain't teaching that. Nope. Nope. That's where fellowship comes into play. Now, one time have we asked for a donation, and not going to.
Nope.
You know where to go.
If you so choose, that is your commitment to yourself. That's the first commitment that you make. We don't quantify it.
It's not about the monetary gain of anything. It's about the value you instill in others to be better around other people.
Yep.
Yeah, freedom is going crazy on these likes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. But those of you that do ask, it hasn't been posed yet, but we do teach privately. That is through the Patreon. You can get that link on the Coach Brown's page. And you are looking for gold membership to be a part of that private lecture series. Again, any pledge, it's just your energy, your attention to detail. You quantify the experience. This is what we do for free. This is not to reel anyone in. This is only to give you what you are already looking for. So if you're drawn here, it's for a reason. It's purposeful. Whether you choose to continue and to learn with us is a distinction you get to make. It's voluntary. But the benefit is your investment. If you have that clear intention, hey, I want to have more competence or confidence, we go over that. We retrain our brains. And you do so with a community that is also aligned to seeking the same goal, outcome. And with individuals like ourselves, again, our private affairs are those. We won't disclose every success publicly, but we're not hurting. Don't work traditional jobs. This is what we do freely.
And join the community. You guys will be doing the same in your own ways. You'll just know how to handle your affairs privately, and then you will build onto communities that you desire to see fulfillment within. It's literally the way we're supposed to be moving anyway. I promise you're not put here to do things that you don't want to do for the rest of your life. You just really don't. You tune in and you tap in, and life flows. Just like the sister said, yep, because you know how to flow. That's right. You know how to
Yes.
flow.
And pricing, yes, you're looking for gold membership for that. You can see it on the Patreon. That's in Coach Brown's link. If you're looking at the platinum, that is specifically for businesses because we teach both sides of public operation. That is not for the personal individual. That is compensation that matches what a business should be operating under.
Oh Lord.
So if you see that number and you're startled by it, that's what we charge businesses.
And it's very, very interesting how that goes down. You know what you know, you're blessed to give it. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Oh yeah. You'd be surprised who doesn't know what they need to do.
Yeah. Still taking stuff in. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's what changes
Yes.
everything. All you need to do is open up a levy form every now and then. That's it. Open up a levy and get a couple. Okay, that's it. That's all I can say. All in all, we're way more entrenched in the administrative process for you guys more than the other side. But if they want to play, they can play.
Yep. But it has to be equitable.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
And yes, we are. We are where the value is drawn from, but the principle is what holds it, what moves it from one ledger to the other. Yes, we're playing chess.
Just
Good to see
clocked
you
out
again, Stan.
right now. Oh, all right now, brother. I told you it's overtime. This is where the Kobe's of the world continue to do what they need to do. I still got some studying to do tonight, which I am
Always.
excited for. So, cracking the code, I'm about to read that one. That is something I feel like will help a lot. Benefit of being the beneficiary. Most definitely. Part and
Private
parcel, too.
enjoyment. Private enjoyment and profit. That is what a beneficiary gets. They do not speak, they enjoy. If they are injured, there's someone else who does the dirty work for them. The dirty work is a funny word. I'm saying that to say that there's someone else who speaks for them. What to
Just,
do about violations, understand the penalty, and offer a better resolution.
just
We're
imagine
not here
Neo
to harm.
jumping into that agent's body
We're
whenever
not
something's
here to
going
harm.
down. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Change the language.
Become you. I'm going to become that which is harming me to defend me in equity.
If you know you're fighting a pirate, someone who is not lawful, you distinguish yourself with your personal power. That privateer who has the armament to sustain battle. You are no longer a prey that is worth the loss or the risk associated with extortion.
Mm-hmm. It's just like becoming the dragon that's trying to. If I'll put it to you like this, because I'm thinking about Camelot right now.
Yep.
So you have Arthur and you have Merlin. Okay, Merlin protected Arthur his entire duration of his reign. Correct.
Yes, sir.
So Merlin would be the agent. Correct.
Yep.
And the beneficiary was the royalty. Merlin had to become a dragon to protect Arthur. Let's just say the company is the dragon. Merlin defends the beneficiary, the royalty. He had to become a dragon to protect him. You have to become a dragon to protect your beneficiary with other dragons. They will leave you alone. You don't even have to breathe fire. You just exude them in your stance. They will leave you alone. They will leave you alone. And they will honor you in that manner. And they will respect you as who they are as well.
And yes, this conveyed in trust. Everything is a trust action because we are in honor. How? Through trust. through agent and principal relationships. Everything goes back to the currency. The main currency is relationships. How do you distinguish yourself from a vehicle? How do you give yourself full authority to assume roles? By how you conduct yourself. That is the nugget.
Mm-hmm.
That is what the intent is. If you want to build something, you have to know what the groundwork will take. What is the architecture? Where's that master plan that you're replicating?
Mm-hmm.
And shalom to you all, Doctor. Get some rest. Appreciate your engagement.
Shalom, shalom.
How should you conduct yourself? We cannot give you that, but we can give you options that will bring it to your attention. There are many different roles that you can bring
I
to
say if you
life.
do it in honor, you'll figure that out. You have to
Yes.
approach everything in honor. And I would highly encourage you to look up as many definitions as you can of the word, grab the correlation and the resignation that suits you best. Yep, like it says best suits you. Look at you, Stanley.
Yep.
Stanley is getting it.
Yep. In honor, but you must know it intimately.
What's
You
going on,
want to
sis?
be
You
the
okay?
agent, distinguish yourself as an agent. You want to be the administrator, you must know what estates require, how they
Yeah.
operate. You want to operate in the trust action, you must know how trusts function. Banking, you want to be the banker, you must know how to deposit checks and what tax liabilities come with transfers. If you do not know both, you will have conflict. You will not have resolution. So we resolve the problems that we create ultimately by having the clear comprehension of what it is we're creating. And that's the beauty of the master plan, is to become aware of what we already possess. No,
No, you do not have to do that.
it is all about conduct. That is one aspect which tries to distinguish something, but it is not creating the resolution. It's actually amplifying conflict because it's perceived that you are going to do that with the intention of being what?
Combative.
Combative, adverse. You are kicking ass and taking names. And we are not necessarily describing that publicly.
I'm telling you, that SPC thing is not what it's cracked up to be if you have no understanding. That is something that you do after your affairs have all been honored and you've converted your credit report into a financing statement. These things are where you get to be that kind of boss. You already are a divine specimen. So let's start there. Then you get to put a different hat on and you'll start to construct yourself at the same dragons that you're trying to get away from. This is why I don't condone it. I show you what you can file, how you can utilize it, but the moment that you allow yourself to move that way, you better understand what you're doing.
Yes, that is a last step. We don't work backward, we work forward because that is what we are talking about. Notice what I'm talking about, controlling the tense. We are working forward, not backward. You have to know where you're going. My intention is one thing. Why am I denying myself that?
Mm-hmm.
By behaving outside of
Or
what
look
I.
at it as an enemy combative. That's why we have to stand in our square. Yes, you do.
Yes.
You already came in combat. You came in a combative stance to where they knew that they can control you because you didn't understand what you were. That's first. If you're a beneficiary, then you have to move as one.
Mm-hmm.
Those don't talk.
At
The only
all.
thing they can do is request and initiate for what they want. So if you didn't initiate it properly, then what are you doing trying to talk about somebody did you wrong when you're the one who created that whole thing?
Or worse yet, you're a volunteer, and volunteers are not worthy of their hire, meaning that they don't have to have any equity returned to them and have full
Mm-hmm.
liability.
It's funny how that game goes, guys, but that's
Yes.
where you have to water yourself with the understanding. If you don't have understanding, you need to get it. You need to get it.
break this down into smaller chunks. The goal isn't to understand the full picture and the scope. It's to get each block and fill each space until you have that mosaic. Yeah,
Stay on your feet.
we were
That
supposed to
had
do
me
that.
dying when I figured that out. I found that out with you guys on live. I did. First time I've ever seen that word outside of Ebonics. That is a real term. That is a debtor in servitude.
Mm-hmm. To who? A master. A
Mm-hmm.
master that who has chosen? The servants chose because it's voluntary.
So
It's
should I
not
do
slavery.
something about violations? Whatever you desire to do.
Creative. Creative. You want to have more motion, you have to be more creative. One aspect on a simple level is penalty. That's pass driven. That's the offense. That's the retaliation, matching the offense to the harm done, the tort. But it
Mm-hmm.
may not give you what you actually truly want. You want rights. You don't negotiate from a lesser space.
Mm-hmm.
Language, yes. Language is what conveys your message. That's why we say be clear with your intentions. If you don't know how to be clear with your intentions, you must first assess the vocabulary that you have. And then once you have the vocabulary down, then you manifest your regard for the relationships that you have, which is your character and the regard you have for others. You can get more done, whether you're doing it orally or in a written manner, physical expression. You can get more done by having higher regard for your equals, those that you're working with and through. Because you agree with yourself, with
Correct.
your intentions,
Mm-hmm.
which still takes discipline, but it can be replicated. You do this by a little bit at a time, perfecting the language that you use and understanding and really doing that inner work to understand what you're actually intending to manifest. Because if you have the intent to manifest it, you know what the outcome follows. That's the abstract, again, as I said earlier, becoming practical.
Yes.
Yes, signature does not change, just the title. Is this biblical or a Muslim? It actually is universal. We're talking about abstracts, which could be considered secular, but it does reside within the divine domain of providence, of creation, of natural order, because that's what it replicates. It is a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see it. I mean, you can see footnotes across culture. So it's a little bit more inclusive than we would like to imagine. Natural law, yes.
Yes. Natural law, in essence. But we definitely have broken down different types of law.
Hmm?
Because there is definitely different types of law. And Sprite. It says Sprite? Sprite.
I don't think he meant to say that. Sprite.
I hear you, brother. Get it in. My intentions are pure. I don't get it. Well, your expression has to be the same. Because your intention is, does it lack understanding to express your intention? Or is your intention something you're keeping within yourself and not expressing to those you want to benefit from? Spiritual, natural, man-made. Understand.
You want to
Spiritual.
have agreement. If the conflict is brought by you, again, we say that you enter a battlefield with commerce. If the goal for you is purity, then it must agree with your natural state. And your natural state isn't conflict. That's artificial. Your natural state is agreement. So in order for you to have what you're asking for, your intention should provide a resolution, a means of continuing and establishing the relationship, of building and not destroying. That is the application. That is how anything else that you want to manifest in abundance, that's what it must be in agreement with. That is what it necessarily follows. So if you don't have that, you may be missing that nuance that we speak about. You're not given enough options. You are limiting the filter. And see it, you see it through your actions. What a lot of people miss, why am I not rich or successful or popular? Have you given thought to what inspired that thought, that reflection?
Are you and your divine self with it? A lot of us aren't in our divine selves. We're trying to mimic and emulate something that is not within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You all have divine light within ourselves. We do. We have our own light. If you're not shining that light, you're not going to get gravity.
It does go that deep. There's no way to avoid it, which is not bad. It's nothing to be afraid of, but that is what we are here to do, to confront ourselves and our true intentions. And that's ugly sometimes because most people have an assumption that they've made about themselves that was formed in their early years through domestication. You expect things instead of performing, instead of showing up, representing that burgeoning ideology within you, that value that says, hey, I'm naturally curious. Where can I take this? Is there a different way, different resolution?
We had
That's
it as
how we
children.
grasp it.
We forgot it. You had it as children. We did. We all did. But we stopped being that way is because we were encouraged not to be. We're encouraged to conform. And that conformity was against our best interest. And then those who were guiding us were not sound. They had no honor within themselves to exude such honor to you, which is okay. The fact that you have it now says a lot about you. That's all I'm saying. Believe me, I've all traveled a similar path. This is why we're all connected right now. It's not a whole heck of a lot of us, but it's more of us than ourselves to where we can bounce these ideas with each other and get light out of it. We're not playing hot potato. We're sharing the potato right now. We're growing more potatoes to give to one another.
That is the goal. Thank you, Odyssey. Thank you, Stan. Thank you, everyone coming in, engaging. Chrissy, thank you. Chrissy Creation.
Amen, amen.
Sir.
Appreciate it, Sam. Being able to check it out. Things are getting a little small. These letters. When I start taking off, it starts getting blurry.
No worries, brother. Nope, it does not distinguish any kind of artificial institution because those are not natural. Nature is diverse. Diverse for what? Propagation.
Yep.
For
Exactly.
continuance. That is the contingency that nature set forth.
Mm-hmm.
It is now. And we unify by having clear intentions within ourselves. That is the resolve. That is the work that we each must do at our own pace and time. So if you want to have things, you must also resolve to share. That's a virtue. You must distinguish the patience that it takes to have and to manifest. You could apply it to tending a garden. You want the fruit, you must wait through the season. And this is a season of change. Many of you have been cultivating this idea and that curiosity for many years. Some, it just developed or reawakened in you, and that's okay. Everything happens in your timing, the regard that you have for what you are engaging in, which at this time is through this medium, hearing us and allowing it to speak to that part of you and to encourage you. After a lawful judgment is made with admin process, how do you enforce judgment? First and foremost, your admin process is judgment. Who but you can make a claim for private rights? No one else can quantify your privacy but you. That's the substance. So how do you enforce that? The same way that you manifest it, by expressing it, by your conduct, by resolution. That is how you break down those barriers. That is how you escape illusion. Resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Have the resolve. How is this profitable if it's commerce? If it's not commerce and it's political, distinguish yourself as an ally and not as an enemy. If it's ethical, demonstrate the virtue and the value of community to understand and to extend your influence and persuasive ability and to develop your ability to resolve problems. It's all reciprocal.
Amen.
Thank you, Stan. Yep, definitely review it, go through it. You may catch something that you didn't necessarily grasp earlier. That's why we have it for y'all, so y'all can go back, play back. That's the benefit of actually engaging in it while we're creating it. You get to ask the questions that are important relative to your situation.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to get ready to start to post these lives on YouTube so people can go back and listen to them and play them, because I'm for sure this will help a lot of our brothers and sisters get to where they need to be and it's censored correctly, because that's definitely something we have to work on in real time, because they do tend to shut things down, family. If we are not in compliance with the system's construct, they shut it down. And we have to learn how to move and speak these ways.
Which is okay. That is perfectly natural. There's
Mm-hmm.
an order and we respect it. Not afraid of it. We're not oppressed. We're not injured. Everything is not harmful to us. We are observing our power and our community's power.
That's right.
You're 40 hours in?
40 hours in on the administrative process. I hear you.
What is a form of clear intentions? I missed that earlier. It's conduct. Your conduct is what clears up any ambiguity, any vagueness, anything that was not plainly in sight. It is now seen by what you do, how you speak.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be taken seriously, you must understand the language that you are speaking in. When in Rome, we use the Roman way. When in China, we respect and regard Chinese.
Mm-hmm. When in commerce, you respect commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Universal. Everyone is exchanging energy for goods. Right. That's part. Let me see if I can grab a question out of here, brother.
Sir.
I think we've been answering them pretty solid. Nope, no questions. There's a lot of accolades, which we do appreciate thoroughly. To be honest with you, definitely continues to give rise to our intention and our exuberance to maintain what it is that we're doing. It matters a lot. So we share live. Miss Escobar, she's still going at it.
Definitely appreciate it.
I got you. But the intentions that you were talking about, man, that's probably one of the most viable points that needs to be driven home. Like you have to have a clear intention about what you're doing here. It is very simple to live a peaceful life. Once you get it here, within, you can do it without. No matter what you look like, it's all about what you exude. What actions are you taking? The universe gives it back to you. It has to. Even the questions that you ask, they have to be returned to you with answers. So are you asking the right questions? Are you asking questions with intentions of something you don't understand? Get your help, please, L. White. Up. Yep, if you DM me. I mean, after the live, I'll check it out probably first thing in the morning, family. It will not return void. That's right. It won't.
Yep.
This is all I want is a peaceful life.
Mm-hmm.
Peaceful actions. Encourage
Mm-hmm.
peaceful lives.
Good
And
faith.
let it be true. Faith. Let it be truth. Let it be truthful how you're moving with these things. Because you can want a peaceful life and act in a peaceful manner, but it will only be that way until your intentions come out of you. So if you want a peaceful life, live a peaceful life with understanding, as peaceful as you can be with your understanding. I'm definitely ask for stuff I don't understand. I'm sure because I'm not at peace yet. Take your time. Peace does not come expeditiously. It does not. Peace comes with patience. That's what peace is. It's patient. It's caring. It's loving. It's understanding. It's receptive, especially in your own frame. And see you in the form of a goddess. So move in that way as much as you can. Y'all got Sam talking tonight. He don't even look tired at all.
Nope.
Yeah,
Not,
he's on it. So
none
I'm here as
whatsoever.
long as you guys need me, to be honest. So tap in. I think one day I want to kind of speak about the days of the week and the energies that come with it.
Go ahead, Sam. I'm listening.
Mm-hmm. That's right, brother.
We are here. We are here to be fruitful.
And you can claim.
There is no nation that allows usufruct. When we say usufruct, we are meaning the profit from another's fruit without equity being returned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got an overstanding, but where should I start? We start with relationships. We understand commerce by breaking it down to the language. What is a principal? Who is an agent? What does that relationship mean for commerce? Why is that important to you? It's the formative aspect of everything. Because what preceded you? The divine plan. But what followed after you were born? An application forged by your mother. She meant well, but she was an informant, meaning that she did something that, in some regards, does not follow history, because you are regarded as a bastard if you are not claimed by your father. Again, that is specific language. It is not meant to be harmful to you. It is just speaking to history. If you are not claimed under the estate of your family name, because family was a personality of her own, then you do not carry the rights of an heir until you correct that claim, until you stake it. You prove that your pedigree is that virtue, that you are a man, that you are a woman, that you are of divine origin.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that with conduct. Well, that's pretty dangerous unless you know where you're going. Freedom. The only reason I say that is because you have to act if you are rescinding something, meaning to overturn that with the authority of a nation. And that must mean that you must exemplify the powers of a nation and not receive privileges. And that can be a hardship for some because we want to receive benefits. We want to see our work bear fruit. And there's been a
You want to
lot
be
in
on land.
history that has come from that being skewed, an offense or a wrong being done. And that can only be corrected with our comprehension of our relationships, our pedigree.
Mm-hmm. Be really careful with that, because that's a benefit that you don't want to relinquish without understanding. I'm talking about estates, protection, security. All of those things need to be had because that is no longer for you. 911 calls, you're not available to that. That's ambulance, that's police, that's all of those things that they already have in the infrastructure. You are taking yourself out of everything that will protect those who have no competency in it. You go to a hospital, done deal. They're not dealing with you. Yes, so I had intention, but now I already did it. I don't know what to do. I probably need a consult. The state is not noticing it, and let's hope that they don't. If you're not ready for that, that's something I don't personally condone.
No.
The infrastructure that you were born in and your family did not create for you and teach you certain things, this is not nothing you want to do purposefully against any benefit that you want to receive. So if they're not noticing it, allow it to be so. Same way you tried to rescind that, rescind what you tried to rescind.
By conduct, not by fabrication, because you don't want controversy. We're not creating problems. We are manifesting resolutions.
Sounds like a goodwill type of thing that needs to go into play there. Just set off my 56. I'm definitely going to join the gold so I can be on point. Come get this knowledge, Queen.
Yes,
It is here for you.
it is more than accessible. And definitely, again, if you are just joining and new, we do teach privately. This is the public aspect. Privately, we teach that through Patreon. That is through Pledge. Gold membership is where you get the continuous energy that we exchange individually and in a community setting as a class. And we move forward with the subjects that I curate, that Alvin curates, for the intention of getting you more understanding of the principles that you're already implementing. If you see a platinum membership on there, it is for businesses. It is not the expectation that a individual pledge that. We have businesses that we teach fiduciary duties to, and that is the concession to teach them how to
Mm-hmm.
operate correctly, appropriately. So,
Yep, to convey what they need to convey in order to get themselves out of situations that they put themselves in.
yes,
Running a business.
that can still be done. It's just going to take some more research before you prepare any other paperwork because you want your honor to be maintained.
Definitely. Not to say that we're holding back, but it's only so much we can do here.
Mm-hmm.
Do we get live calls with you guys in gold or live group sessions? Both.
Yes.
And you're
That's,
welcome, sweetie.
that's why we
But you
do not.
definitely get both.
No. Yes,
Just let her know that we both you get both, because you're gonna need them. You're gonna need them both, because we want you to get as competent as possible, even in the community. So we're going to, you know, indulge in what you're indulging into, and have you approach them correctly. Yep, Stan said they're hands on. He's one of our students, definitely. So, I mean, there's a lot more fun than you guys think. I mean, we can only be so. We have to remain conscientious on the setting here. So please allow us that forgiveness moving forward, but we can speak as close to it as we possibly can. How long have we been on this call?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm starting to see it's 12. I said, oh wow. Been on it for a while. Like time, it moves different, doesn't it?
Yes.
The military was super slow.
Oh
That
yeah.
felt like a 20-year bid we did, but this here is effortless. Effortless energy. Yeah, definitely for a couple hours. I think we got on here like at 9, bro. Well, I
Got
did
it
for
down.
Central Time. Yeah, it was 12 o'clock. That was a long time. 2 hours and 15 minutes. Dude, here, you've been asking for it too. 2 hours and 15 minutes. I got you. I got you. DM me. DM me. Let's book a consult. Let's get those questions answered, man.
Yep. Not to disclude that, because that was more or less the length of class.
Oh, Stan, a 3-hour live. Didn't even feel like that then. Still felt like 15 minutes. Even when I'm listening, I'm soaking it up the same. I always stay relevant with this stuff. All right, Pacific time. Yep, me too, brother.
Yep.
Pacific time. So that's gonna make it easy for you and I to communicate. I'm on one. I'm in the central side. Sam's on one of the ends. So we're able to assist. How about I try? Stan, Stan was killing me today, boy. That's right. He was at work taking care of business.
Yep. Still listening.
Mm-hmm. That live. Gotcha. You guys have no idea how much peace this gives us. I'm going to sleep like a baby tonight. Might get through about 20 pages of this book, but I will read it in the morning. The rest of it. Do you guys have a podcast I can listen to daily? Not at the moment. Um, Getting ready to bring forth a network to where you guys are only paying like $3, and you guys will be able to listen to things like this that I'm creating in more link than just the 3 minutes on TikTok. Um, it's kind of like a Fire Stick thing. So you guys will be able to plug in there and get a lot of information. It may be a little scrambled or whatnot, but the fact that you'll get the information and you can kind of dive in, you'll be able to figure out, if you want to be a student or not, but you'll get more information on there on a more consistent basis. Because they're putting us on TV now. So I say let's get ready for that. What book are you reading? It's called Cracking the Code. Let me see. So I don't know if you guys were able to hear that, but that is, it seems like great information. And it's just about the taxation side of things. So I personally don't deal with them, but it is for me to teach institutions how to better conduct themselves with the taxation aspect of dealing with the consumer. So it's going to help them conduct themselves better with you guys. That way you're not paying their taxes. Entertainment purposes. Cracking the Code. Peter Eric Hendrickson. What's the name again? Seems like a good read. It does. It's about 300 pages, so it'll probably take me about 2 days to read. Give it about 20, 30 pages an hour for about 8 hours a day and go from there. You do still have to allow your mind to exercise the same way that you want your body to. So I don't focus my energy on anything other than growth. I'm constantly watering my spirit, my mind, my intelligence. As we all should. You shouldn't get slower mentally at 50 or 60 or 70. You should be more competent. Your body should be moving a little bit more swifter. Ooh, give me some hearts, family, if you're able to hear me. Can you hear me, Sam?
Yes, I can hear you.
Say, ooh, the discipline. You gotta learn. It's really what you put most of your energy into, family. What are you putting your energy into? What are you paying your attention to? That's what you're gonna get out of life. We can't get out of life just kind of standing by and complaining about things that others teach us. What are you teaching yourself? That's right, Mr. Stan. Move with purpose. I stress understanding a lot, a whole lot. Understanding an administrative process. I still feel like they should have taught us this in elementary. We would have
It's
been just amazing in America had we just, if this was the country that knew this basic concept, it'll be a utopia.
it is freedom of choice, though. That's why it can't be instructed by a public utility. Public cannot dictate to you how you manage your private affairs. Yes, that is really the truth. The assumption would be, oh, that is to suppress us, but really and truthfully, it's for freedom.
Mm-hmm.
You are not kept from it. It's not their position.
Yep. They're definitely in the business of giving you freedom. How you choose to use it, even if they harbor distractions, is up to you. Your God shouldn't be an entertainer. Should not be. It should be just that.
Yeah,
And the business is
business of
business. And I like how she did it like that too. It's all public education. 353.
it had earlier emanations, even than that, because there were specific railroad magnates that spoke about that principle. Because before 1953, Andrew Carnegie and his other friends met for a closed door meeting regarding a system that we still operate under 20 years before it was released to the public as a solution to a problem that did not exist yet. And that's the power of people that are in their correct capacity to distribute change.
Mm-hmm. Truthfully initiated. Give you the problem after they've created the solution. That's why you read forward. That's why you continuously grab this information. Not to stay abreast of whatever they're doing, but to stay abreast of what it is that you want out of your own life. Let our capacity rise. Exactly. Let it rise. Let it expand. Continuously. These kind of conversations help many expand. Then you can speak it amongst your own peers. Highland dialect. Mm-hmm. So many things, guys. After a while, you'll get tired of reading the same things. You'll know it. You'll understand it, and then you'll just, that's where the pubs come into play. That's where policies come into play. But really, you don't need many of them. You just need your understanding of how to enforce what you know, and then expand what you know. Shaq and Kobe still in the gym. Yeah, brother, did the Queen make it back?
You said I look restless? No, I'm just ready to give y'all information,
He
content.
holding back. He's holding back. It's probably tripping him out right now, but
I'm looking at, honestly, my next little ledger, or lecture, I should say.
See, this dude can't stop.
I was creating the next little lecture, honestly. That's what I'm doing.
Say, don't hold back. We have to, Queen. We have to.
Everything is measured step.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
For honor. Guys, brother, they have no idea how much peace this brings us. Listen, I'm over here. I'm buzzing a whole different way. I'm loving it. I'm good. Stay in conduct no matter what. Mm-hmm. Or honor.
It's remain in honor, and you do that with your conduct. Last Sunday, yes.
Mm-hmm. Which I still
Maintain.
miss. I keep missing all this time stuff.
Yeah, they do need to join the community. I agree, Stan. Give them the proper perspective, concepts. You grow
Mm-hmm.
your understanding in private.
Not in
Monks
public.
would find isolation to do what? To develop themselves, to sharpen their iron, to learn the true martial arts, not of the physical body, but of the mental, spiritual blocks. Who's watching the conduct in commerce?
What are you
Agencies,
addressing?
public
Mm-hmm.
agencies. They are mediators. They are
That's big.
referees. That is literally what they exist as.
Mm-hmm. Big Brother's there for you. Is there for you. They constructed it for you in the estate. They appointed fiduciaries at lower levels to manage your affairs. And the only way they can manage your affairs is if you bring them into one.
Permission, voluntary. But if you do not manage your affairs appropriately, they cannot regard you as speaking the language necessary to give them the right of action. It's said differently. If you don't speak in the proper frame, you dishonor your estate. And there is a consequence, there's a penalty. They must assume the responsibility and become the implied beneficiary. They take it something off the top for the inconvenience that you attribute to them with foolishness.
As they should.
Yep.
You want to play? Make sure you have the right ball on the right field. Playing basketball, dribble. Playing soccer, kick. Playing baseball, swing. Playing tennis, swing. Playing golf, swing. It's a lot of swings. But you have to be playing the proper role in the proper place. So do I try again or go for what's mine?
What is
Oh, it should
yours?
always be. Yeah, there you go. Kind of start with the principle. Protect your
Nice.
principle. Community meeting agent. Mm-hmm.
Definitely tangible. We were discussing doing a physical lecture apart from that. It was offered. We might do something in New York. I don't I don't know that we've
That is
quantified
the next.
anything. Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be the administrative process because a lot of us don't know it. But maybe in person it'll be a little different in a more private setting. To be more open to it. And that will definitely, our gold members will see that if you guys can't come.
Yes.
And you will have that recording. All right now, Stan.
Yes, sir.
Hold you to it. We'll make sure y'all get y'all seats first. It'll be the early release for you guys first.
And for Nay, it is a vehicle bearing the same name, some of the same marks as you, but it is not you. If you are it, if you are paperwork, you are a disregarded entity. You are allowed privileges and you cannot speak in matters that you do not understand because you don't have the ability to speak for yourself. That is what you're saying if you represent yourself as a principal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not the principle. The principle is something that you utilize to benefit your beneficiary. I'm going to teach this. You learn it, you can teach it.
Yeah.
Let me fix this clock in here. What time is it? Goodness.
Yes. Holding a security that represents a legal estate that was bearing a name and a likeness to a foreign situs trust, something beyond the control of the artificial institutions of man.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
beneficiary is always in honor. The agent must remain in honor.
The agent. Mm-hmm. I was gonna do this. Look at those videos on the TikTok family, and go look at the different roles that I have on there. I'll create a playlist out of it, but they're like the last 8 videos. I talked to you guys about all the roles. I believe I started with the beneficiary, then the principal, then the agent, then the fiduciary, and there's still a few more I got to put in there. Basic mechanics, rudiments, the seeds I plant with playlist. This is exactly what you guys need to understand. Man, I got it from that man there. Right. You guys have been very attentive. I think they're just waiting for us to chop it up again.
Yeah, I
To be honest.
nothing wrong with it. We can start back from the top. What is commerce? It's exchange of goods and services. How do you protect your family? Competency. Competency. And you demonstrate that by having the tools to express yourself properly, effectively, in alignment with the operation of law, which is custom and regularity. You have to know how a nation operates, how a principal operates, how an agent operates. Because everything that an agent does, it is the liability of the principal.
Or do you protect your family? First, by understanding how to protect yourself. And protect them if you can't protect yourself. That's kamikaze. And they still get recoil. You know that administrative process, you can protect a lot of people. You can also set yourself up as an agent on behalf.
Mm-hmm. And act in
We'll
good faith
never
as a
condone it.
third
Oh, go
party
ahead, brother.
intervene.
Oh, yeah, you just did that.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a party to the matter, but I am of a ethical duty to protect the goodwill and the custom and the regularity of my peers, to protect their honor, to make sure that they are unsullied by the artificial institutions that move and subdue what? Natural law, natural order. You speak it, you see it, speak with conviction, work in equity. We do not hide, we do not jab from the shadows, we exude ourselves in the light. It is not a hidden remark that we say ourselves accountable to our word. Said differently, when you speak, you are accountable to it. You do have the liability for what you say, because everything that we say that is a point of controversy is a libel. That means that it is a offense, and it is not held to be true. That you are held for its penalty. But we only speak the truth, so that is not a matter of concern. You are doing your ethical duty. You are protecting someone that has been harmed. You are acting in good faith.
Mm-hmm.
With or without POA. But yes, POA is one method of replicating that distinction. So, as we said earlier, it's grasping the abstract so that you can express the practical. You don't grasp the abstract if you don't meditate and absorb the concept. It is not useful to you. You have no means of moving through it. That's why the very paramount or basic aspects I talk about with anyone who privately learns with us is about history. How is that relative to the human family? It distinguishes our pedigree. Where are we in relationship to our family, to our namesake? Which precedes it? Which comes first? Which should or ought to be recognized, regarded, upheld? First and foremost, your family name. How many times do you distinguish that first? Very few if you don't know who you are as an agent.
Amen.
Good night, El White. Be blessed. Wa alaikum salam. Go in peace. But it's grasping that. We talk about the abstract, That is what we are reaching for and expressing. Something that has value, a value that is incorporeal, not limited by this world. How you holding up over there, Coach?
Really good, really good. Just make sure everything is locked up.
I hear that.
I have to walk this whole palace before I do that. I'm glad we have enlightened the few that's going to become the many, and we're going to handle business in accordance.
It was an honor having you, Gucci. Thank you for the time that you've extended, the attention.
No worries at all. At all.
Sure. Get some rest, Stan. Look forward to seeing you in class again. Appreciate you as well. Do our best to be transparent. If it's not something we can speak to publicly, we do speak to it privately to the best of our ability.
This is absolute fact, family. You had a lot of questions that were answered before I asked. Appreciate it. Okay, no problem.
Yes, being humble is a virtue. It's close to the natural state, which expects nothing and receives everything.
Mm-hmm.
That is the gift and the covenant of natural order. Notice I said covenant. That is the promise of much abundance. We go back to our natural state to correct the deficiencies of domestication, to overcome the limitations of self-imposed knowledge. And you do that by affirming and transmuting artificial constructs. But it's about money, isn't it? Commerce is about exchange. It's about mutual benefit. Money is just the intermediary. It's just what's being exchanged. In some places, it's not being exchanged. Really and truthfully, our system, if you understand it intimately, is credit, not money. Not walking around with gold doubloons and silver bars.
As much as we like to, that is not the norm.
So,
There we go.
at the highest level, yes. That is how you transcend the affairs. You must simplify your affairs, resolve the small, the low, so that you may rise above. You can't contend with problems that you don't have a resolution for, a capacity for. What about the Constitution? They don't honor it. You're not a party to that covenant. You, as you stand, based on your conduct, are not a party to that, because that is a business plan, a model for success, for commerce. If you have not endorsed it, if you have not accepted it, you are not a party to it. And if you are a party to it, you are at war with someone, unless you clarify that you are not, in fact, at war, but in alliance, in agreement.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like a depot of competent individuals.
Yes. For entertainment, information purposes only.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is not commerce is not difficult, family. It's not. Mechanics are down. It's the easiest thing you can participate in. About the Constitution, they don't honor it. They honor whatever you pledge alliance to. You pledge alliance to it, they will honor your alliance to it. If you do not, why are you speaking about it? That's incompetent behavior. That's combative behavior.
Worse yet, that's trying to receive a benefit where you have a privilege and showing incapacity. Incapacity meaning that you are not fit to maintain the estate. And it's not saying you as a defect of your understanding, it's saying you as a limitation of asking for two opposing distinctions. Because those are two different types of conduct. That's all. It's making sure that we regroup. Yes. Starting from square one. Thank you for joining in the vibe. Yes, it is. Just be prepared for everything that follows. When you perform because you have a duty to do so. So you're always in honor if you are relinquishing yourself of liability. You're doing what's fair. How do you know what's fair? You know what's fair by grasping the small concepts, principles, and understanding what the custom and regularity is. If you are pledging allegiance to anything, first and foremost, you must know what your duty is to that allegiance. What is your responsibility? What is your role? What is expected of you? Once you can get outside of the expectation and grasp the responsibility, that is when you are empowered to seek further. But until you resolve that small, low level, you cannot have that extension of freedom. You haven't given yourself choices to operate outside of that. So getting into it, first thing is understanding relationships. As we said before, there are more than one vehicle that you operate in. The vehicle you operate with in commerce is not you, just a piece of paper. But you are held liable to it when you don't distinguish yourself from it. And when you don't protect it. So there are standards of care. There are 3 criteria on which you are judged, on which you are tried, because you will be judged by your peers and you will be tried by your peers. The only way to resolve yourself and absolve yourself of any harm or wrong done is good faith. It's conduct. How do you show up?
It all comes back to the basic, guys. No matter what, you can always bring it right back down to the lowest common denominator. And a lot of the times, it's the fact that you are not competent to even participate. You have to be competent enough to participate in what it is you're trying to get out of it. If you know what you're trying to get out of it, you know how to participate in it.
What reference point would help? Yes. Learning what good faith is, learning what remedy is, conditional acceptance, that is language, vocabulary. If you still are kind of drawing a blank, just understanding history, what came first? What kind of law came first?
So it's the limitation I placed on myself, the conduct.
Absolutely.
Hit it on the money. That was the target. How are you going to change it?
Everyone's situation is special because it has the special individual stamp of their perception. That's the importance of the power of mentorship. So if you have the right channel, you can excel. We do that as a community, setting the right kind of alignment upon our intentions. We replicate that by who we surround ourselves with.
Mm-hmm.
Commerce wants to see you in equity, in competency, because all merchants work through competence. They know what their day-to-day affairs are. They know what the business requires of them. They know accounting. They know ethics. They know civics, because this is civics. The very premise that puts one entity into different reference points, i.e., when I'm talking about that, I'm saying that piece of paper that we discussed earlier that has a real value. It's a disregarded entity when there is no agent representing it. There isn't someone of the age of majority that is a real living, breathing, competent being who has reasoning ability, can speak the language of contracts, of commercial paper, and is willing to honor their treasure.
Mm-hmm.
When you can do that for yourself, when you can express as much, you are given the treasure. When you do not, you receive only privilege. And privilege is limited by your surroundings.
Competent enough to file paperwork. We all are. Are you competent enough to express anything that you're filing on your own behalf? You're still an agent to something. And quite naturally, you want the profit benefit out of everything that you construct in commerce. That is the true goal. That is always the true goal of us getting our private enjoyment. You can't get private enjoyment with public actions you don't understand. You're creating public action and you're putting it on public notice for private affairs. Doesn't really make sense unless you are competent. Have you gotten out of the private free and clear before you got to that point. You're moving as a diplomat there.
With the respective immunities of your ministry, because you are bound by a different law,
Mm-hmm.
a different nation, a higher nation, a more inclusive nation. But that is, again, respective to your situation, what you choose to subscribe to. That is I don't want to say it, I would not say a misnomer. It is one application, but it is a application that will get you definitely chin checked. Definitely get you chin checked.
Yeah, pretty hard too.
Yeah.
You're not really ready to deal with them on that level. They will test you. So let's not antagonize those that you're trying to get equity with. You want equity. I thought getting out the private is correcting the status. Why would you want to get out of the private? All your affairs are private. All of your affairs are private. Yes, ma'am. We're just here. We're just guiding. That's it. That is it. It's a public forum, but it's more of a private public setting at the moment. But we can only get so deep. You're asking the right questions. It's people that are afraid to ask it. And that's why you're going to get a lot further. How so, sweetie?
Yep. It does happen. Some of the first interactions you have when you distinguish yourself in that manner, they show you who's top dog, or at least who regards himself as top dog.
Mm-hmm. Equity pact is the most equitable exchange of energy.
Yeah.
It truthfully is.
Equity is actually mandatory by operation of law. Even if you recognize or agree with and abide by public policy,
Mm-hmm. We live and we learn, right?
yep.
We live and we learn.
Religious? No.
Nah, not at all.
Animated? Yes. Animated by something abstract, something deeper, wholesome, that is within all of us, may manifest by our actions. So, yes, we are of the inner work, of the inner world.
Definitely aware. Definitely aware.
Yes. But you knew enough to ask. See yourself with the same regard. You are amazing for sustaining your attention to this. This is a depth of expression that our curiosity, that our hearts crave. It's reconciling the differences, distinguishing ourselves from what we have been conditioned to accept. Thank you for rejoining, Plant Eater. Saw you earlier. Appreciate the engagement.
Amen. Let's say gold. That's right. Right. Blessings, 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 blessings.
Absolutely. Present in the now and in the later, because it is all. In every shape and every form, you will find us.
Who do you guys look up to for your mentors? The world itself is my mentor. Divine presence, divine equity. I see light in everybody and everything. Anybody can teach me everything. Everybody can teach me anything.
Source, yes. That is what you are drawn closer to more and more. The depth that calls to you, calls your energy and attention to itself. That's what we're experiencing. That's what we're expressing and perfecting. But if you're asking worldly, who do we learn from or get inspired by? There are many teachers, many people who are practically minded that are doing the good work to talk about this, to convey themselves. Many of them don't need to be spoken of on this aspect, but if you personally like their namesakes or references as far as books, it's definitely a private message aspect, and we'll definitely give you the equity back.
Mm-hmm. Amen. This world is not supposed to be seen as a difficult place to be. You just have to understand your place in it. That's what makes it so simple.
For those that ask for it, that's all. There are individuals who have committed the work in good faith to put information out to cultivate the mind. It's worth recognition. We all are operating through our spirit
Mm-hmm.
and grasping things that we previously did not understand. Where should you start with finding your role? Start with history. Go far back as you can. Read about a trust action, Sestake trust, a specific historical note. There's also biblical law, specific note. What was the canon, the rule of piety? A rule that brought forth the divine providence and the secular power. That was the conflict between church and state.
Mm-hmm.
Because the king saw himself as sovereign outside of the jurisdiction of God, of the divinity. And the church laughed and said, hey, we speak for something incorporeal. And you cannot resist or obstruct that which is good, bad, or indifferent. That is the repeating cycle that follows many developments in civilization. Because if we even look back in China to Confucianism, what preceded that? Because before or in simultaneous congruence to Hammurabi's code in China, they developed the doctrine of agreement between heaven and earth, that everything that was ordained and spoke to order proceeded in the heavens, that you could not have civilization or fruit without sunlight, true transcendence, looking down upon you, providing that nourishment. That's a very deep abstract.
Mm-hmm. Y'all come to class. You're gonna see how deep this brother is.
Where do you sign up? You can look at the Patreon link that is in Coach Brown's bio. And then you are looking for gold membership. As we always distinguish, gold is for students, platinum is for businesses.
Please don't sign up under the platinum unless you have a business.
Yes.
Unless you want that divine individuality with it, but you're gonna get a better notion of that with the gold than with the private.
Yeah. The more you do, the more you can do. The less you do, the less you can do. Absolutely. That is manifestation, replication. And Plant Eater, do you believe one requires a will and a trust, or does the trust suffice? Trust suffice, but the will corrects deficiencies. But the first will and the most prevalent will is conduct. One thing is seen in commerce as a disregarded entity until your conduct corrects that deficiency. Then there is equity. There can be no equity without good faith, honorable conduct.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the reason that implied trustees can become implied beneficiaries, because we're not speaking to the matter that's actually being brought to us. We have to attune our antennas. We have to change our frequency to observe the order of operation. And the order of operation is always the estate. The estate deals in administration. That's why we call what action we take the administrative process, because you're still operating through the estate.
Amen. I was saying, Sam spent the day.
Yes, until the infant, until the infant reaches the age of majority, the operation of law allows trustees to maintain a position of guardianship. They are the executors, or they bear the office of the general executor until the heir apparent provides their conduct, proves their agency, their pedigree by accepting their nobility, their birthright, their natural order, which is you keeping your family name by honoring your civic duty to speak, to engage. You can apologize. That is definitely conduct that would be in good faith. But apology is useless if you don't have a resolution for the defect. You correct it by demonstrating a resolution. And that resolution is the resolve to be honorable, to regain what? Not their permission, but to regain what?
Sounds like equitable stance.
And that
But
is
with
a
equitable
prayer.
stance,
Good
still a
faith.
resolution.
Yes. You're extending yourself back into the natural state. I
Good.
burned my hand on the stove.
Mm-hmm.
And now, with wisdom, I've tempered my curiosity.
Mm-hmm. There's just many ways to skin this cat.
Seeing it gives you that freedom. We're not speaking to a template. The template is you. Your conduct is what guarantees your outcome. So with effective conduct, you gain necessarily by operation, influence, benefit, protection, enjoyment, community. And you do that by revesting yourself. What is a form of showing the apology? Goodwill. Goodwill or a prayer. That is your pleasure because no one else can speak to your faith. As long as it is a virtue that can be understood.
Mm-hmm. Great questions today, bro.
Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, just how freely we feel. I'm just giving out the more advanced, more advanced application. But yes, that is the power of the abstract in application.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to demonstrate and replicate a solution. Yes.
I'm glad y'all are opening up a very seclusive spirit. I have no idea. I'm tripped out just listening. I'm just like, wow. He is open right now. But with that, that's that equitable exchange speaks about all the time. Y'all keep at it. Y'all are digging in the right places.
Elaborate on that. Well, there's two. There is the legal and there is the equitable. Equitable is foreign situs, living body. Legal is descendant or decedent, not descendant, excuse me, decedent. Decedent meaning dead, disregarded entity. It's talking about paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
When you can show that difference, know it, embody it, then you can embrace commerce appropriately. So you'll know who is somebody speaking to. Are they speaking to the vehicle or are they speaking to you, the being?
Which they can't speak to. But it's up to you to express it as such. They can never speak to you. If it's not coming from God, it can't speak to you. It's all about your participation.
And they are very adept. They are in the business, as Freedom so eloquently put it. They are in the business of doing business. So they will offer you, hey, if you just anything they can do to get your attention because they are hungry. They need your attention. They want your energy. It's not a deficit. It is a nature of their creation. It is artificial. It must be sustained on something.
The vampire feeds on blood. The dead feed on the living. Understand your role. And there's a way to express it.
And we do not sell. We do not sell.
Mm-hmm.
The goal as a merchant isn't really selling. It's service.
You're selling your soul for a minute. Hey, they put it on time, don't they?
Yep.
But it's to the principle that they're sure not paying you, the living soul, anything.
Oh.
They're giving the principle what it's owed from, what is it, taxable income. So they don't even give it to you in full.
Nope. It's just talking about what's on the top. Let's skim something off the top, because the rest is what in escrow.
It's all ours.
Deep dive. It's all in escrow.
Mm-hmm.
You want to quantify that number don't even match up to what you think it'd be. You're thinking it's 6 something. It's immeasurable.
Mm-hmm.
Immeasurable.
And
But it's how you use it. If you don't use it correctly, they're gonna tax you. Again, they're in the business of business. If you're not minding yours, they will mind you. They will mind you with extreme prejudice. Make you feel like you are outside of your good nature, but it is not a trap, but a defect of moving too quickly. If you're moving quickly, you are under duress. That is not our natural state. We move in stages. We elevate in stages. It's a progression. That is why you are not able to bind yourself. You're not able to wed yourself in matrimony, in commerce, until the age of majority, until 18, where you really don't have any mastership, no real authority to assert that you are a journeyman, that you know and have demonstrated a little something until 21. Really and truthfully, for political aspects, until 25. That's already demonstrating something. It's replicating a certain type of schooling.
Yes, it is.
No.
They'll let you marry each other, but you can't marry nothing in commerce. You can marry before 18 nowadays.
And still have it be with what? Guardianship.
Mm-hmm. Still need guardianship. They're still guardians over that matrimony. Nothing divine about you having anyone in the middle outside of tell you how to be. It's not divine, not matrimony. It's wardship. For better or for worse, till death do you part.
Yep. Binding of estates. You have a duty, a responsibility now to protect each other's estate, each other's assets.
Business.
And if you don't, you will be held to it and penalized. That is why, on either side, regardless of male or female, or male and male, female and female, not discluding expression, you have accountability. If you don't act in honor, manage the affairs, a referee will divorce you.
To the benefit of
the
estate.
And take some off the top.
And take some off the top. And someone still pay for it.
You can't resolve it.
I won't do it. I won't do it. We learned our lessons. And that is what it is.
Yeah.
Must deal with like minds, family. Okay. It says continue for political and financial purposes. I wish half of them were students because they ask great questions.
Mm-hmm. Continuing the political and financial purposes, understanding that elevating beyond commerce, the political aspect is the law of nations. Your actions do determine what you gain. But the law of nations is important because it distinguishes allies and enemies. If you are not an ally, you are an enemy. It is much easier for those that want to be allies, that want to form fellowship. They must know the regularity and custom. They must have a means of conveying abstracts. That is the preference. That is what others like. They like what likes them. If you don't like each other, you're probably an enemy. If you allow that to fester, there is war. There's a discriminatory aspect of exclusion. And with that comes, again, that consequence, that conflict, that is you being extorted or attempts being made on your treasury, attempts being made on your well-being, undue or adverse hiring, forced hiring, which is slavery, being compelled by force to perform. Each of those types of actions necessarily follow misuse or I don't want to say misuse, but demonstrating a political stance before you are grasping the civics that comes with it. So every time that you freely express, freedom is what? Civic, meaning that you volunteer and ascribe to your own space and place, your own nation. And if you are apart from someone else's, point of contention. But we must align ourselves not only with our own thoughts, our own course of language, but with the regularity and custom that exists outside of us. That's how we're creating harmony, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Self-knowledge, self-determination. Can you be in dishonor in the private? You meaning like remaining in dishonor? Or can you? There are many individuals who are in dishonor privately. That's where the non-judicial actions come. That's where the dispossession of vehicles or
Evictions of
dispossession of
property.
homes comes from. It's because something is not being demonstrated. They're not seeing your performance, or worse yet, they're not hearing from you. You're avoiding that red envelope seal that says past due instead of speaking to the matter, getting ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
Who determines that? Big brother? No, it's actually you and the other party. If they make the claim, they are asserting a position with respect to that matter. If you assert the claim, you distinguish your honor or dishonor, or their honor or dishonor.
Mm-hmm.
That is the power of your perspective and conduct.
Yeah, gets deep. Really not as deep as we think, but that's where the rudiments come into play, guys.
Yep.
It's like having that piece on a Monopoly board. You understand the basics and the mechanics, you can start to go around that Monopoly board and understand how to contract with each piece that you land on. Hmm? No, nope. Complaints aren't if handled correctly. So would you say that complaints are dishonorable to the living man or woman? No. Nope. That is just you maintaining your stance. You moved in honor with your private matter. Complaints come only after or whenever you need to have your resolve. Whenever you need your nuance to come into reality. Nuance meaning future. If you want your future to be present, sometimes you need a complaint to have Big Brother come pay attention to a private matter that's now being made public because your administrative process dictates that it be so at that moment. Not at all. Not at all. If you're whining and complaining, that's one thing. But if you're establishing a position and they call it a complaint for them to see it, so be it. Thoroughly appreciate y'all's engagement.
Yes.
Never been on here this long. Goodness gracious. I'm not going to wake up to after breakfast now.
It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate you for being attentive because you're doing it voluntarily.
Peace and blessings.
Do they always have to return it? No, because you are demonstrating a type of performance. They don't return FRNs to you, so why would they return commercial paper to you?
Sure don't. If they have to, it's 30 plus days after a cycle, so they can give you that interest back.
What happened?
As far as what, family?
Yeah.
I'm guessing if they don't return it back.
If they don't return it back, it's been accepted. Where do I send the prayers for being in dishonor? Who have you dishonored with your actions? So understanding that first and foremost. If it is your duty to express yourself publicly, civically, to remain in equity or to redeem yourself, you must express yourself to your peers. How do your peers know your intentions, your conduct? If you've dishonored Big Brother, the public, then that would be a demonstration to Big Brother. When you say interest, you mean the interest gained on that? Yes. That was something that was spoken to a little bit loosely earlier. Because if you understand equity, exclusive equity, history, and operation of law, you know that debt is personal property. And it's of an incorporeal nature, meaning that it's not tangible, because we do not exchange gold doubloons, silver bars on our day-to-day course of business, of commerce. Yes, that is a common law principle, that lien, that claim. Yeah. So the interest is drawn from the equity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is one application of the abstract. Yes. That is how you collapse that trust action. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Collapse or claim. Yes.
It's up to you which way you want to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
You have options, family.
Many people try to deep dive into the banking before they understand the civics. You are not civically expressing yourself, conducting yourself appropriately. The equitable banking will not work for you, because you cannot be privileged and free. I notice you say they want to settle. What do you want as a resolution? Because that is a claim that they have made
Towards you on behalf of the principal. So how does the agent act in this capacity to benefit itself as a beneficiary for private enjoyment? I'm loving this.
First and foremost is deciding how you want to honor your obligations, to clear the board, to make space for what you actually want. What is your intention? But if you don't agree with that, you can always do a counter offer and still be in honor.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you express rights, you are making a counter offer.
Yes.
Excellent. That's a good method, tattoos, but that's going to take time. They have up to 5 years to resolve that if you haven't given them a timeline for application. Credit is there. They have to do something with the books, but again, they have no expedience or necessity to be quicker than they already are. You're playing a game of odds when you leave it to a trustee without a timeline.
You need a vested interest in your own outcome.
Hmm?
If you leave it up to them, you'll never get it. And if I was at war with you, I would allow you to continue to conduct yourself in that manner as well. I stay out your own way. I stay in honor.
And how are we both the beneficiary and the agent? Isn't it trust for the strawman and we the agents? Distinguishing, I said something specific. There's legal estate and then there's equitable estate. Who is operating the legal? The legal cannot speak. It is dead. That is how, by convention, you are both.
Because that side you just spoke on sounds like I'm a beneficiary. Whereas the other side, only an agent can act in a lawful capacity.
Mm-hmm.
At a legal capacity and a lawful capacity. And then you have equity in the middle. My bad. I probably dropped the bag.
Okay, that's an option. If that's an option that you agree with, you can demonstrate that with your conduct tattoos. If not, be creative. When you understand the basic concepts, you can expand your repertoire. You can do things that were never present before, make manifest something else. And that's the nuance. You can give them a different choice, a choice that benefits you more, but also, ideally, benefits them mutually. Because believe it or not, this is still based on agents, and the agents are people. You want to be heard, you want to be acknowledged by somebody else, you give them acknowledgement in kind. You pay it forward. Why do they need to act on your behalf other than duty?
So you want everything back, but do you understand it? Why would you want? Why do you want it?
Mhm.
Ask yourself that question. What's the why about? So does credit matter, or being in conduct does? That sounds like a seesaw. Credit does matter. Being in conduct matters. It's all love, family. I can only speak as to how they're gonna see it. That's where these basic concepts come into play. You gotta have your basics down. This question here, credit matters. Being in conduct matters just as much. Really, if not more. Because without the conduct, you can't receive anything.
Nope. That's understanding credit. Because there are different implications for credit. If you were speaking as a consumer, you have rights on one pole or another. If you're speaking as a merchant, you have rights, one or another. If you're speaking as a bank or a financial institution, because those are two different powers. Financial institutions are not banks. They are composite. And the hint is that your principal is that type of functionality. It is a financial institution, not a bank. Because banks are limited in what they can do by operation of law. You're learning the game. That is how you take proper action.
Mm-hmm. Our rights have to be expressed in commerce. Of course. This is exactly where they should be expressed. From commerce comes every other action. Even when you're dealing with the public servants that like to drive around in uniforms, it's still a commercial thing. No worries, family. It's about 1:20 over here. We've been on this thing since about 9 o'clock Central Time. What if it comes off as, it won't come off as dishonor. It won't come off as dishonor if you understand your stance. Your stance has to be honorable, equitable from the conception of your agreement and arrangement with them. I don't want to keep pushing buttons. No, you're okay. You're not pushing any buttons.
Not at all.
I'm gonna make it a little difficult for me to make my video in the morning for you guys, but I'm here.
I'm here as well.
They have to eat a whole meal on the fly.
Oh yeah.
So if you didn't engage properly from initiation, how would you remedy it? You would more than likely have to forfeit your situation, count your blessings, and your next ones you're gonna have to do properly. There's always a way to remedy it outside of that, but you've already expressed an incompetent manner with them. So it's going to take a lot of work to get back into equity. And that's going to come from forgiving yourself in that manner, then resetting your stance. And that's if it's allowed. You know, that's exactly why we teach how we teach. Therefore, people aren't going out and messing themselves over so badly. And it happens. Like it really does. We all want something so bad, but choose not to understand it first. Like if you go out and you begin a game of sports badly, you're still gonna lose at the end of it, regardless of how well you start to understand your opponent. Still a time frame and a timeline that you didn't give them, and then you want to reset and start over. They're not gonna comply with you. Hopefully that makes sense.
Great analogy.
Yes, sir.
That is still maintaining the decorum. What is the commonality that we have? So we know that we're engaging appropriately. It's voluntary.
Collectively, we're learning around the world, and that tends to really be our detriment at times. You have to pick an origin of understanding and grow in that, because we like to pull bits and pieces of what we like from everyone, and then our gumbo is just garbage. Believe me, I know. Sam knows. Like it's just facts of commerce. Then that's why a lot of us want to jettison ourselves out of a system that's there to benefit us. If you didn't respect the system, what makes you think they're going to respect you outside of it?
And worse yet, stepping outside of it, you don't have any shield. You don't have any referee that can be counted on to act as a mediator, because you are now held apart.
You're conducting yourself now in a character on Amistad. They're not there to help you if you're not a part of this structure. Can't protect you if you're outside of this structure.
In feudal England, barons had tenements, they had land, they had estates that they had control over, and they enjoyed the profit of that land and the labor that was conducted there, whether goods, whether merchant craft, artisan work. They received the full scope of it, because those that lived on it, they were serfs. They received their wages by being allowed to eat from the land, to
Mm-hmm.
tend the land so that they could be protected by the virtue of these barons' powers, their right to that land. But there was always the threat of an overlord, someone with more power, the sovereign, the king, coming in and saying, you know what, this is mine, and you can no longer play with it, and you are dispossessed. And if you were lucky and weren't killed, and your bloodline wasn't killed for fear of reprisal, you'd be allowed to live amongst the serfs and start working that land. And that is always a risk that is run when you exist outside of the artificial construct. We don't naturally exist in it, just as slavery was an artificial institution. Any of these constructs in commerce are artificial institutions, but they're propagated based on abstracts. So how do we protect the sanctity, the real you, the real value, the intrinsic abstract? We respect our vehicle. But that's what it was created for. The covenant was the common law. That was how they protected themselves, by trust action, by having someone vouch and say, he's not here, but I have to safeguard this.
Mm-hmm.
He's out doing merchant stuff. You can't kill his bloodline because I have legal title right now while he's not here. Even if he is there, sitting, getting fat, eating a turkey leg in the back.
Mm-hmm. You're still able to act in the capacity that he can act when he's not present. Yep. Goodness. Well, family, I'm tapping out.
I understand.
I'm tapping out. Doesn't matter how long I've been up. Just know it's been a long time. But I've given up as much energy as I possibly can. And I love you guys thoroughly. Appreciate it, Brother Sam.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not sure we're going to be on live other than next Wednesday, but I feel like we're going to start getting on here a lot more. Because I didn't realize that y'all are going to be this communicative, and it's no problem for me to continue to give it out because y'all are putting a smile on my face. I'm about to sleep in peace. I'm probably going to levitate out of this bed as good as I'm going to sleep. So you guys enjoy your nights. You be safe. You guys keep learning, get your understanding, and we're here for you. This page is always available to you. The Patreon is always available to you, and it's up to you which way you want to go. But until then, equity will be exchanged.
Yeah.
All right, brother, I get with you first thing in the morning.
Yes, sir. Like clockwork.
Like clockwork.
Peace, everyone. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the attention. Be safe in your travels and in commerce. Always act in faith. Yes.
Love you. Peace.
Peace.